14.
And Paul Blackwood, 19, looking for a guy to get a piece of, and he really doesn't have to get a tiny bit of Carter, but boy, that lane opened up, and Corey Philpott didn't hesitate at all. Oftentimes you kind of pick your spot and then turn it on. He had it going in fourth gear right when he caught that ball and takes it all the way for the BC Lions. What a way to start this game. My goodness.
Really didn't need a block. Had a little interference, but it was all Philpott on the 93-yard touchdown run.
Well, I think you saw Jamie Terrace, number 60, just in your picture. You could lip read him saying, wow. And that was a big wow to start this game. You know, Dave Ritchie in the locker room before the game, I said, how you doing? He says, I'm a bundle of nerves. He's always uptight before the games, but that ought to calm him down just a touch.
What a great start for Ritchie and a troubling start for Don Southern. His Tiger Cats have won 5 of their last 6 games. And they're behind the 8 ball early in this one. This is Larry Thompson to return the kickoff. Thompson has some room to the far side, but he won't get around Hassan Derek Greer. Robert Davis in on the tackle as tonight's starting lineup is brought to you by Mr. Sub. Fresh thinking is what we are. Offensively for the Tiger Cats, second-year quarterback Anthony Calvillo has led the Tiger Cats to 5 wins in the last 6 games. The offensive line has molded into a cohesive unit with the addition of veteran Blaine Schmidt from the Argos, and the Ticats with 2 super wide receivers in Larry Thompson and Earl Winfield. Lee Knight, a great clutch receiver coming out of the backfield. Ticats begin out across the 40-yard line. Here's Cavillo. And he goes deep for Earl Winfield. And Winfield draws a flag. Coverage by Charles Gordon, number 26.
Now, this is going to be interesting to see how they call this. Hamilton, no secret. They want to go downtown against BC. They feel they can do that against this blitzing kind of defense. And, boy, there was a lot of pushing and shoving, but it's going to be Charlie Gordon.
Deliberate forward pass interference. BC number 26. First down, Hamilton.
Net gain for the Tiger Cats is 39 yards, Leaf.
And Charlie Gordon knows how good Earl Winfield is at adjusting to the football and coming back to it on these long balls. He knows now that Winfield's trying to get back inside him, and you see the hand fighting. Gordon just with that right arm kept pushing, and the official had to make the call.
So Winfield figures in the first offensive play. Ticats set up 1st and 10 at the Lions' 28. Calvillo has to get away from the rush. Looks deep to the other corner this time. Thompson, the intended receiver, another flag down on Eddie Thomas's coverage this time.
Well, again, a lot of hand fighting downfield between the Hamilton wide receivers and the BC Lion corners, and boy, no secret to what Hamilton wants to do. Try and get protection as best you can and exploit the corners of the BC Lions with Earl Winfield and Larry Thompson, and we'll see how they call this one.
2 pretty good matchups with great receivers in the Tiger Cat lineup. Larry Thompson has had a super season since coming over from Saskatchewan.
Yeah, these 2 interference calls are set up by long passes that are underthrown where the receiver's trying to fight back underneath and the corner won't let him.
Deliberate forward pass interference, British Columbia.
Well, here you see Eddie Thomas right here, and as Thompson will try to fight back underneath, you'll see the contact being created by Eddie Thomas, and it's simply because the ball is underthrown, the pressure was coming, and now you see the fighting start. See, the first grab right there, the hand up through, and there's no question. So the Ticats get a couple of huge plays on interference calls against the BC corners, and boy, that is the area that Hamilton has decided they're going to try and exploit.
And net on that is 27 yards, setting the Tiger Cats up at the BC 1-yard line. So Cavillo can answer that 93-yard touchdown here. We'll have an absolutely terrific start to this football game. Tiger Cats 1st and goal to go at the Lions 1. Derek McAdoo, and he won't get there. Shelton Quarles, number 31, is in on the tackle. And a little backup from Tom Europe and David Benefield. Lions Lions get great pressure from the front seven. All Canadians up front. Scribner, Chaders, and Stewart. Speedy linebackers led by Benefield and Robertson. And the secondary playing well with Jackson, Europe, and Sims in the middle. Second and goal to go. Tiger Cats set up at the BC 1-yard line. Little play action fake, and Lee Knight can't bring it down. Another marker in the end zone.
Yeah, and it's going to be on Charlie Gordon against Earl Winfield. Winfield got inside position, and Charlie Gordon obviously felt the ball was going to be coming his way, and he just dragged Winfield down. Pretty good call by Cavillo, play action. He had the easy touchdown to Lee Knight had he been able to put it on target.
Knight was open. Sometimes those passes, when the receiver is open, are a little tough.
Forward pass interference. BC number 26 in goal. First down, Hamilton, 1-yard line.
Charles Gordon singled out on that one. So back to back to back interference calls against the Lions secondary.
It's all BC Lions on the score sheet right now. You got Philpott on there, the kickoff return, and now penalty, penalty, penalty.
Ticats get 3 more cracks at it. And it looks like they'll have it this time. Cavillo himself. And the Tiger Cats answer the early score by the BC Lions.
Boy, when you come into BC Place as a visiting team, you know you're going to be in tough from the start, and now to be able to come back from that 93-yard kickoff return touchdown by Philpott and get one of your own. I mean, I realize 3 penalties contributed largely into this touchdown by Anthony Cavillo, but nevertheless, you know, at least on the bench, you say, hey, boy, do we get back into this thing in a hurry, and, you know, they're 1 point away from being back to square one.
Calvillo likes to go deep. He went to Winfield. That netted 39 yards. Then to Larry Thompson on the other side, netting 27. He hasn't completed a pass yet, but he has a touchdown. It's 7-7. Great starts at BC Place.
Brought to you by All Sport. The new All Sport drink for athletes. All Sport. The game will never be the same. And by Bell Advantage Long Distance Services, from the Alliance of Canada's only full-service telecommunications companies.
Great beginning at BC Place. Cavillo has answered a 93-yard touchdown gallop by Corey Philpott, and it's 7-7. First quarter is barely underway.
Well, I think Dave Ritchie has reason for concern. He saw his corners beaten up on that drive. There you see it, 5 plays, 67 yards without completing a pass. But, you know, Eddie Thomas with 1 interference penalty and Charlie Gordon with 2. And if you're Dave Ritchie, who's a defensive guru, I think you have to be concerned at this point.
This is a shorter kick coming down to Spencer McLennan this time. He gets a block. McLennan turns in a pretty good return as well out across the 50-yard line. Steve Grant in on the tackle. Lions quarterback Danny McManus is on a roll, leading the league in passing yards in his first full season as a #1 quarterback in the Canadian Football League. The offensive line offers great protection with just 8 sacks allowed in 11 games. Problems begin in the receiving corps. Dean Herbold in his first CFL start, and Yo Murphy are in for Darren Flutie and Robert Gordon, and Paul Blackwood is in for the All-Star fullback Sean Millington.
Yeah, Darren Flutie pulled a hamstring last week in Ottawa. Bobby Gordon hurt his ankle, so they're playing with a thin group tonight.
Philpott takes the pitch from Danny McManus for a couple of yards. It is Hassan Bailey, number 7, in on the tackle for the Tiger Cats. Defensively, the Tiger Cats are impressed with Keith Embray making his 3rd appearance at right end, with Philbrick, Campbell, and Small also up front. Tim Brown has done a great job at middle linebacker for the injured Michael O'Shea, and the secondary has been intact most of the season with Greer and Carter solid on the corners. 2nd and 8. Lions. McManus has time, and it's tipped on the line by Michael Campbell. Or by Philbrick, I should say, 99.
I think what you're going to see from Hamilton a lot tonight on defense, and they did it on that opening series that the BC Lions ran against them, is just rush 4 people and really concentrate on coverage with 8. And what that allows them to do is play a lot of zone and have those halfbacks, Donnie Robinson and Gary Lewis, come up and really give some good run support. I think, that's got to be paramount for Hamilton. We've got to control Philpott on the ground tonight, and they did a good job in that opening series.
Lou Pasaglia, first punt of the ball game, gets it high. Sam Rogers ready to return. Takes it at the 15. And Rogers gets out across the 25 to about the 28. Stopped by Tom Europe. The return is 14 yards. And Cavillo will get his hands back on the football when we return to the stadium at BC Place. Ticats return specialist Sam Rogers shaken up on this return.
Well, you'll see Tom Europe come in late. Rogers will do a spin, break a tackle, and then Tommy Europe just kind of rolls over his ankle right there, left ankle, and I'm not sure if that's what it is. Keep Rogers down. Well, they're not working on the ankle, so.
No. Ticats have done a masterful job of putting this team back together, and Don Southern has to give a lot of credit to some of the new coaches he's brought in with CFL experience, notably Dieter Brock, Terry Greer also.
Well, I had a nice chat with Dieter before the game, and Dieter was a guy that loved to throw the ball, obviously, and loved to throw it deep. And I said, you see a little bit of yourself in Anthony Cavillo, a young guy that, loves to go to the vertical game and try and stretch defenses out.
And said, has that rocket for an arm.
Yeah, he said, well, yeah, I do see a little of myself in Anthony Cavillo. Cavillo broke a single game passing attempt record this year for Hamilton with 60. Dieter had the record at 58 attempts. So, yeah, there are some similarities. And Anthony Cavillo said, boy, have I learned a lot from this guy in a short period of time.
That Southern was telling me that he really believes that to coach in the Canadian Football League to a high degree of success, you really have to have played this game. Would you buy that?
You have had to play the Canadian game. I agree with that. And I think that speaks volumes for what he did when he got Terry Greer and Dieter Brock to come on his coaching staff. Dennis McPhee helps with the linebackers. He's a young Canadian coach that knows the league so well.
Tiger Cats are 1st and 10. This is Derek McAdoo, and I think he lost the ball in there. Looks like the Lions have it. First turnover of the game, McAdoo has it stripped away.
And this is something that has really plagued the Tiger Cats this year, is the turnovers. It's mostly been interceptions that's been their problem, but now a fumble deep in their own territory. And we'll see McAdoo has a clean handoff from Cavillo, but you see Dave Chaders strips the ball loose, and tough to tell who recovered.
I think it's Henry Newby down there, Leaf.
Well, the BC Lions, I mean, you don't want to come in here and give them too many breaks at the, especially early in the game. You've had a kickoff return. Now they're set up, and Hamilton's 30 with the turnover. There's Derek McAdoo playing because Kalen Hall out of the lineup.
Turnovers are always costly, but when you cough it up at your own 30-yard line, that's a real bothersome thing. Danny McManus, a little play action here as he looks over the middle, has Trevathan. Trevathan is down to the 10-yard line. Surrounded there by Greer, Lewis. 20-yard gain. McManus to Trevathan.
Yeah, I'd expect you'll see Trevathan catch a few balls tonight with Darren Flutie and Bobby Gordon out of the lineup. Boy, you talk about turnovers. Look at Hamilton and BC, both with well above 500 records, and yet, they've given the ball up more times than they've taken it away. In Hamilton's case, 8. 8, and it's 23 interceptions has been the big problem there. For BC, it's 25 fumbles has been their problem, the reason why they're -4.
Lions with a first down. McManus releasing for Philpott, and he overthrew him.
You look at Danny McManus in his first year, in his 6th year as a real starting quarterback. Now, coming into tonight, he'd thrown 367 balls. Well, heck, he's halfway to what he did in the first 5 years in his entire career at 750. attempts. So, I mean, you know, he's done a lot in only 11 games of football compared to what he did in the first 5 years. And you can see those numbers are pretty good with those 300 passing games he's had.
He still wants to bring down the interception to touchdown ratio. 15 interceptions by McManus, 11 touchdowns. 2nd and 10 BC. McManus, man open, touchdown. Matt Clark, first touchdown of the season. Turnover cost 7 points.
I was in the locker room before the game really giving it to Matt Clark. You know, he didn't score a touchdown last year, and he still hadn't had one this year. And I was saying, when are you going to break that goose egg? He said, tonight. So finally now in the first quarter, he gets the monkey off his back. And, you know, I'll tell you what, he's a happy guy. There you see it.
He's taking the ball home.
Well, he should. You know, like, he missed the first 5 games last year with a contract problem and, you know, came back and played the final 13, never caught one. Now he went 11. I mean, it's 24 games that he went without a touchdown. And it's the old pick play. Now, you get down near the goal line. Every team has this in their offense, and BC works it to perfection. Watch Yo Murphy. He's going to come out. Clark comes up, and then he just cuts underneath, and every team has this in their offense. And see, Matt Clark's looking out of the corner of his eye. He's waiting for Murphy, and, you know, Eric Carter just can't work underneath and get the coverage, and McManus delivers a nice strike, and for Matt Clark, a lot of jubilation. Yeah, Trevathan, you know, watch, you know, he's saying, hey, I know my buddy finally got one now. They'll all be giving it to him on the sidelines, I'll guarantee you.
Trevathan has 3 touchdowns in the season. Danny McManus has now tossed his 12th.
You know, it's an interesting, Yo Murphy, you know, it may not show up and it won't show up in the stats, but what he did to make Eric Carter come underneath him, you know, that then allowed Carter to have no angle to try and cover Matt Clark. So, you know, for Yo Murphy, it won't show up, but he really did his job to free up Matt Clark for that easy touchdown catch.
Lions on top at 14-7 as Julio Caravana prepares to kick off. Zatilny and Thompson are deep and standing near the 20-yard line. This is Larry Thompson, and he won't have a play on the ball. Rolling out about the 3-yard line. McManus quick to take advantage of the turnover at the 30-yard line. 3 plays to hit the end zone on a 10-yard toss to Matt Clark.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, that's the key to the good teams. You get a break and you take advantage of it right away. Matt Clark did the touchdown catch, and the turnover again comes back to really haunt Hamilton. But, you know, Hamilton's been a team that's faced a lot of adversity throughout games this year, and they've always found a way to come back. And last week, you know, 15 points against Toronto with 5 minutes to go to win that game. And saw a shot of Sam Rogers. He twisted his knee slightly, and the report from the bench indicates that he will be back in this game.
Lions have had 4 penalties already. The first 3 cost a touchdown.
Well, that's nothing new for BC. I mean, they lead the league in that dubious category of most times penalized.
This is Larry Thompson out around the 30-yard line and stopped there by Brian Ford. 15-yard return.
Boy, John, you look at the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and what a turnaround this organization has made. Compare them to a year ago at 3-8 and now 7-4 after 11 games. And I'm going to tell you one thing. It starts at the top. It starts with Don Southern. He's the guy that's brought discipline to this team. He's brought in some new good players. I mean, Donnie Robinson, Cavillo, Kalen Hall, Keith Embry, all from Las Vegas in that dispersal draft. And he made a trade to get those guys. He's done a heck of a job.
It's definitely Don Southern's football team, and the Ticats are 7-4 with a first down here. This is Thompson slanting in. Slowed by Chaders, 74, and Benefield, number 11. He's been some kind of story since coming over from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 7 catches, 139 yards, including a 48-yard touchdown last week.
Well, you know, he caught 23 balls with Regina. He's now caught 24 with Hamilton, but he's averaging over 24 yards a catch with Cavillo. Now, does that tell you that Cavillo likes to go downtown the odd time?
He absolutely does. Likes the wide receivers in his offense.
Well, he should. They're great.
2nd and 6 here. Cavillo looked for Earl Winfield, and Kelly Sims got a hand on it. Might well have had the interception. He was close. Had a great opportunity, didn't he?
He had a great opportunity, and Earl Winfield took a heck of a hit. They can't afford to have him out, but, you know, that's Kelly Sims just looking into the backfield and reading Cavillo, because that's not even his man. He just leaves his guy and steps in front of Winfield and, you know, almost has the interception. But, I mean, that is just knowledge. I mean, that is having the confidence to read a quarterback's eyes and break on the football, even when it's not your own man you're covering. Looks like a hip pointer.
Sims, the only member of that BC secondary without an interception so far this season.
Well,
he should have had one there.
Boy, the way Earl Winfield walked off the field, that looked like one of those old hip pointers when you kind of have the tilt leaning one way when you try and get yourself to the bench.
A one-hopper to Osbaldiston. He got it away luckily. And Thomas makes a diving catch. Not much of a return. He was happy to hang out of the ball as Derek Greer came up to make the tackle. 35-yard punt by Osbaldiston. There's the almost interception for Kelly Sims. We'll check on Earl Winfield and return to the stadium at BC Place. Paul Osbaldiston had to recover a one-hopper here.
Well, one of the reasons why Osbaldiston has punted so well this year, he's averaging over 46 yards a punt, which is phenomenal for him, is he said, I'm getting great snaps from my center, Blaine Schmidt. But on that particular one, the ball short hop, which is uncharacteristic for Blaine Schmidt. He's a terrific long snapper, but you saw the results. Ozzie had a lousy punt. Isn't that amazing, though? One little thing like just having consistent snaps has made Paul Osbaldiston into the #2 punter in the league.
Schmidt has had quite an impact since coming over from the Argos. Osbaldiston is having his best year punting in years.
Ozzie said to me before the game, he said, remember when you did the Birmingham game and I was kind of on Luis Zendejas for the bad body, too much eating.
Luis had a few too many donuts.
That's it. But Ozzie said to me the night before the game, he said, boy, when you can put the camera on me tonight, I'm going to suck that stomach in so you don't get on my case.
Don't telestrate his tummy, Lee. Quick out to Yo Murphy, number 89. He broke one tackle. Murphy still going. Down to the 45-yard line. Knocked out by 17, Gary Lewis. Yo Murphy is a valuable guy to have on the practice roster. This is a tough situation for the Tiger Cats if Winfield doesn't get back in the game.
The report from the bench is a twisted back, but he will go back in and give it a shot to play. Earl's the kind of guy that can play with injury. Some players can and some players can't. But Earl Winfield has played with a lot of pain throughout his career, and I'd be shocked if he didn't get back in there and still function at a high level.
Lions picked up 19, and Corey Philpott gets the call on 1st and 10. He's inside the 40. Stopped by 52, Tim Brown, playing in his third game. 7 yards for Philpott.
Yeah, and how important is Corey Philpott's rushing to this team? Well, the BC Lions are 8-3. Those 3 losses all came when either Philpott was not playing or he didn't even get close to 100 yards rushing in a game. And I don't think it's any coincidence. It's 7 out of 8 of the BC wins. They have over 100 yards rushing as a team, and it's very important to them.
This is 2nd down and 3, and it'll be a 1st down for the BC Lions. Philpott again, and again the middle linebacker, Tim Brown, who's in for Michael O'Shea for the 3rd time and has played very well for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Sometimes these injuries, you know, John, are blessing in disguises. And for Tim Brown, it was an opportunity to play, and Don Southern loves this guy. He said, you know, in the 2 games he's started, he's really done a heck of a job. So it brings up an interesting situation when Mike O'Shea's ready in about 2 or 3 weeks. You know, they still can play Mike O'Shea outside, which is his natural position.
McManus gunned down from behind by Sean Smith, number 95. Looked like there might have been a bit of a mix-up in the BC backfield, but Sean Smith was all over Danny McManus.
Well, you see Danny McManus from the backside. Sometimes you don't block the end guy in the line of scrimmage when you're rolling out away from it. And Sean Smith with his terrific 4.5 speed. I mean, here he comes from the backside. Nobody touches him. And, you know, he's pretty easy to run down Danny McManus from behind.
Not the swiftest of all quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League. Loss is 8. 2nd and 18. McManus goes deeper, and it's picked up. Grabbed by Gary Lewis, number 17. Deflected into his arms. And Matt Clark is the intended receiver as flags fly after the play. Lewis in his 4th game with the Tiger Cats.
Well, Matt Clark ran a terrific hook pattern, found a nice stop spot in the zone, and Danny McManus just overthrew him, and the old tip drill came into effect. And Gary Lewis, who Don Southern has said has really made an impact on his secondary, comes up with his 3rd interception of the year. Played 5 games earlier in the year with the Ottawa Rough Riders, but they felt he wasn't playing well enough. They released him, and boy, Hamilton picked him up in a hurry. And the thing they like about him is he knows so many coverages. You can put a big package in, where with Sam Rogers, the rookie, that was a little more difficult.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, number 52, Hamilton, and number 6, British Columbia. We have Hamilton first down.
That's a little unfair. The big linebacker, Tim Brown, on Corey Philpott. These two have been going at each other for the last couple of plays.
Well, you'll see McManus. I mean, this is perfect throwing lane downfield, and everything was right, except it was just a little too hard, a little too high, rather, from Matt Clark, and Lewis got the tip and the pick.
Turnover sets the Ticats up just outside the 25. Calvillo from the shotgun. And he has Barry Rose. Rose took a big hit. Sims with a hit. Benefield supplying a little help on the tackle. 6 yards to gain.
Well, one of the things I love about this BC Lions secondary is they got 5 guys back there that are all hitters, and Kelly Sims, number 3, is willing to come up and really make receivers pay. And here's the shot right there, and Benefield coming from behind. But you look at inside halfbacks, Enos Jackson and Kelly Sims and Tommy Europe in the middle. Those are a lot of guys that can hurt some receivers.
This will be 2nd and 3, and that should be a first down, as Frank Maroff has his first catch in front of Kelly Sims.
Kelly Sims, one of the University of Cincinnati players that Dave Ritchie seems to love so much. Ritchie, of course, the head coach of the University of Cincinnati at one time, and on this team they've got Andrew Stewart and Paul Blackwood, the running back, who's starting tonight, and of course Kelly Sims played in the World League this past year, played a lot of games, and now missed the first few with the Lions, but back in their secondary.
Larry Thompson to the far side of the field. Earl Winfield split to the near side for a 1st and 10 Ticats. Calvillo has to elude the pressure, now steps up and fires. Far side, has his man, Larry Thompson. It'll be a first down, Tiger Cats. Eddie Thomas on the tackle.
Boy, he had a big week last week against the Toronto Argonauts in that thrilling come from behind victory. Thompson with 7 catches for 139 yards in that game. Earl Winfield had a beauty too, but boy, what I love about Larry Thompson, I mean, he worked back to the quarterback when he saw Calvillo in trouble, and technically he's running his pass routes as well as he ever has in his career.
1st and 10 Tiger Cats out across the 50 at the 52. Calvillo likes that shotgun, releasing in a hurry, has Maroff again. Nice catch, and then lost the ball after he'd almost gained the first down. There'll be another turnover going against the Tiger Cats. Knocked loose by Gordon, and Tom Europe in there with the fumble recovery.
So the Ticats commit another turnover, and Maroff with the great catch to begin this play. This is a well set up play, and look how loosely though he's carrying that football, waving it around, and it gets knocked out rather easily. When you feel that traffic and the hit coming, you got to tuck it away, and Frank Maroff just didn't do it. And again, another turnover, as you see by the Ticats. The first one
cost 7, right?
Cost him 7. Tommy Europe got fined $300 by the commissioner this week for a punch that he threw at Mike Jovanovic.
I wonder how Mike's doing this week.
I don't know how he's feeling. He took a pretty good shot.
On first down, it is Philpott again, and he's close to halfway to a first down again for the BC Lions. Philpott leading the league with 14 touchdowns, including 1 here tonight on the 93-yard kickoff return.
It's funny, John, their favorite running play is the toss, and usually to the short side of the field. And on that play, the toss play, the fullback has to lead and seal to the inside on the outside man of the line of scrimmage. BC Lions have yet to run it tonight, and I'm wondering, how comfortable they feel with Paul Blackwood's blocking ability. I thought he's pretty good, but they haven't run their favorite play yet.
2nd and 5, and it's whistled down. Blackwood, as you mentioned, one of those Cincinnati guys. pretty good running back overall. I guess the test for him tonight in his first game is...
Time count violation, BC, number 14.
I guess the test tonight is his blocking abilities in the way the BC Lions offense is structured, obviously.
Well, obviously that will be the test, but I think, you know, when you have a rookie and all of a sudden he becomes a starter, the biggest test will be, will he make mistakes? And if he can play error-free football and, you know, like pick up the blitz, do all the subtle things, I'm sure that they'll be very happy with that.
On second down, McManus in behind the newcomer, Dean Herbold, number 81, making his first CFL appearance.
And McManus just doesn't look overly sharp in the opening quarter here. Yeah, he threw a nice touchdown pass to Matt Clark, but now the other interception by Gary Lewis was a ball thrown high to Clark, and now for Dean Herbold, I mean, this was a pass that was pretty easy to complete, and it was way behind him. Now, having said that, you know, Herbold has not been working with the first teamers other than for a few days this week, and, you know, maybe their timing under game situations, which are totally different from practices, is maybe not 100% yet.
Pasaglia standing back near his 35-yard line with Rogers deep. Satilny is also back in the area. This one coming down to Sam Rogers, and he got a hand on it, but had no play after that. Took it out of bounds. 37-yard punt for Pasaglia.
Well, John, tremendous significance in this game tonight for the Ticats. This is one of these old four-pointers, you know, a chance for them to jump up and tie BC. Of course, Edmonton, with the hammer job they gave Winnipeg last night, was 16 points. But, you know, if the Ticats have any illusions of finishing higher than, you know, third or fourth place, I mean, this is a real test for them tonight.
Always a test when you're playing a team with this kind of experience, and the Tiger Cats have reformulated the entire team since Don Southern took over. Although Ritchie has had to make some changes from the Grey Cup team with at least 8 new guys. 8
starters from that 24 starting Grey Cup roster are gone, and they've done a nice job replacing some people.
From the 25 on first down, Cavillo puts this one on the line. Larry Thompson has a big first down for the Ticats, lost it again, and it comes right to Tommy Europe. Europe still standing, markers are down, and Earl Winfield finally wrestles him to the turf. Tyrone Chapman was there to knock the ball loose, and Europe right there with the recovery. 29-yard play negated there. Ticats' third turnover.
Well, a terrific pass pattern by Larry Thompson. He works down and actually ends up being the slot back, and he just sits down in this open area right here, and Cavillo with some tremendous arm strength guns it in there, but once again the turnover bug has hit the Ticats, and you know the ball is punched out by Tyrone Chapman, 47. Tommy Europe now with his second fumble recovery in the last few minutes.
The flag was against the Lions on the return. They will retain possession of the football.
Now, I asked Don Southern, who was a terrific defensive back, a Hall of Famer, what he thought of Tom Europe, and he said, boy, has he developed into a terrific young safety.
Lions beginning at the 48, and they begin with Corey Philpott again. Another marker down. Philpott grabbed from behind by Sean Smith. Check out the infraction. Lots of penalties early in this one.
Well, you expect them from the BC Lions. We mentioned early that's their big category. They lead the league, and it's for the second year in a row. It's, you know, just something they can't seem to overcome, and now another one.
BC number 19, 10-yard penalty, first down repeated.
Paul Blackwood wears 19 for the Lions. Dave Ritchie with a record of 29-17-1 since taking over the BC Lions, and there's Blackwood. 8 penalties for 97 yards. Herbold comes to the near side with Matt Clark flanked to the far side of the field for Danny McManus. Standing in with time, he goes over the middle as Herbold away from one and cut from behind, but he's down near the 30-yard line. Little speed by Sean Smith to get back and make the tackle from his linebacking spot. Herbold makes an impact with a 40-yard gain as the Lions continue to roll, and that's the end of quarter one. Lions on top of the Tiger Cats 14-7. Dean Herbold with a big 40-yard gain for the Lions in the previous play, the play that ended the opening quarter.
Well, when you look at the statistics, there's a couple of troubling things for the Ticats. Obviously, number one, it's that right there, but this bothers me too. 0 yards rushing. Listen, I know Anthony Cavillo is a terrific quarterback and likes to throw it 50 times a game, but at some point in time, they're going to have to slow BC down with some running plays. Even if they're not overly effective, they have to do it, or else they're just asking for a lot of trouble and a lot of pressure on their offensive line.
And when McAdoo did get his hands on the football on a rushing play, he fumbled one of the turnovers.
But you can't let them shy away from that. Anthony Cavillo's got to realize that, you know, rushing game still has to be part of it, even if you're not overly effective with it. You got to plant the seed with the defense. You can't let them just come all heck bent for leather.
Here the Lions set up with a first down and going to Corey Philpott, who swings it to the outside. And he's got about 8 yards, forced out by Derek Greer. Middle was clogged up. Philpott took it to the outside and grabs 8.
Boy, good footwork by Corey Philpott. What here? He sees it all blocked up when they get the penetration down. And what does he do? It takes great vision to feel this. He says, hey, that hole is no longer there. I got to bounce it to the outside. And, you know, for Corey Philpott, this is not a difficult play because he's got that real good burst and those quick feet and, you know, the good vision to go along with it.
Lions keep it rolling. This is 2nd and 2 and another first down. Guess who? Corey Philpott in the grasp of Tim Brown. And Bailey helped out.
But, John, you know, obviously Gary Hoffman, the offensive line coach of the BC Lions, who's done a terrific job with this group, feels, I mean, this team likes to run the toss and the counters, but what they're beating Hamilton with right now are the quick dives, and obviously he feels his offensive line can manhandle that front four of Hamilton and open those quick hitters for Corey Philpott, and, you know, they've done a nice job with that kind of running game here in the first half.
McManus goes to Philpott again, and he's down inside the 10. 6 yards that time for Corey Philpott, who's running behind the likes of Jamie Terrace.
And John, just to show you, to illustrate, I mean, watch Todd Furtick on the outside. I mean, watch this. This is straight man ahead blocking and nothing fancy, straight dive play. But look at the push they're getting, the surge, that offensive line. Like, before Philpott touches anybody in the dive, he's 3 yards downfield. So, you know, all of a sudden, this BC offensive line is just starting to get tremendous push against that Hamilton front four. And you don't have to be a fancy running team to do that.
Another penalty coming up, and it's against the Lions. And I think it was after the play, Leaf. So Bud Steen sorts it out down there at the stadium at BC Place. Lions on top, 14-7.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, British Columbia number 60. The penalty is applied from the point ball dead, so it's 2nd down, BC, 2nd down.
It was against Jamie Terrace.
That's a tough one. You get down to the red zone, and, you know, last week the BC Lions had a terrific game when they got their scoring chances, but before that, for 3 games, they had great difficulty making mistakes down the red zone, and now, you know, a pretty costly mistake, and there you go, 9 penalties already, but now you got 2nd in a bunch when you had a real good chance to take it in.
You got to be accurate, 2nd and 19. Facing Danny McManus here, stands in, fires, and his receiver fell down. Dean Herbold. Did he make contact with the cover guy?
Well, it was Derek.
Tripped.
It was Derek Greer on the coverage, and, you know, I think they did initially have some contact, but then, you know, the separation was created, and it didn't look like Greer interfered with him. So, you know, that penalty all of a sudden, you know, made that such a 2nd and long situation they couldn't convert. But the good news is they get a chance to settle for a Lou Pasaglia field goal. Derek Greer's done a great job with Hamilton this year. He was with the BC Lions a year ago. It was just a bad team to be an extra corner with Les Brown and James Jefferson and Barry Wilburn.
Louis sailed that one wide. Sam Rogers gives up the single point. One more for the BC total. Lou Pasaglia misses his first crack at it tonight. The veteran Lou Pasaglia not having one of his banner seasons, 28 of 46, hitting on 65%. It wasn't the snap here, Leaf.
That was a great spin job by Julio Caravaggio, the holder, and I don't know if that rotation on the ball affected the kick at all, but as a holder, what you want to try and make sure always of field goal attempts of any kind of length and distance is the kicker doesn't have to worry about the laces, and Caravaggio did a terrific job on the hold.
And Julio waits his turn to replace this guy, Lou Pasaglia.
Little bit of gray sneaking in there on Lou.
Well, he's in his 20th season in this
I guess
league.
you're allowed to after 20 years. You're allowed to have a little bit of gray sneak in there.
He has set the standards for place kickers in Canadian football. In fact, all professional football is the all-time points leader in scoring. So the Tiger Cats dodge a bullet there, giving up only 1 point. Beginning now at the 35, 1st and 10. Cavillo has some time, and now an opening. He slides out across the 40 to the 42.
And this is exactly what the Hamilton Ticats wanted the BC defense to do. They felt if they could get them out of that blitzing man-to-man coverage early with some long passes, this would be, they'd let them go to zone, and then it'd be a little easier to work against it. Well, now BC's only rushing 4 people, and Cavillo just had nobody to throw to. Maybe he wishes now they went back to that man-to-man and he could try and find a guy.
2nd and 4 for Cavillo now. The Ticats at the 41. Over the middle and on target. No catch, though. Barry Rose, the intended receiver. Enos Jackson was covering number 29 for the BC Lions.
It's a terrific job by Enos Jackson. Here's Barry Rose, and he's going to go down on the hook. But what he doesn't do, you'll see at the end of this pass pattern, is work back to the quarterback. Now, once you make your break, you got to come back. He doesn't come back hard enough. That allows Enos Jackson to close the distance and put the hit on him, and he can't hang on to it. That's a nice play by Jackson, but as a receiver, boy, you got to work a little harder than that.
And there's Anthony's reaction.
And I don't blame him. You got to have your receivers coming back and running the disciplined pass patterns, and that wasn't very disciplined.
Osbaldiston not high this time, a little deeper, however. Thomas takes it at the 22. Eddie Thomas looking for some running room, got one block there, and it's wide open down the near side. Away from Lee Knights, and he's down at the 47. Lions are getting superb work on returns tonight. That time, Eddie Thomas. 24-yard return after Osbaldiston's 46-yard punt.
Well, you're going to see a terrific block coming by Virgil Robertson, number 96, as he peels back to help Eddie Thomas. And, boy, it's on Sam Rogers, 31. Watch this right here. He's going to come to the outside, and there goes Robertson. He's peeling. He's peeling.
And Rogers had him in his sights.
He got him right there. That's it. Eddie Thomas, he gave a little depth on that one to allow the blocking to form. And, give Eddie Thomas credit. He set up that block nicely for his buddy Virgil Robertson.
Lions set up nicely. At their own 46, McManus, quick pass near side for Yo Murphy.
Now you always talk about guys around the league that you'd like to have on your name team. Like you got Horace Morris in Ottawa. You like saying his name. Now, would Yo make your team?
I kind of like Yo Murphy.
Yo Murphy, he'd have to be on that team. Who else you got?
I haven't got the whole list, but I'm working on it. I'll add a few more as we go along.
Yeah, that Horace Morris in Ottawa. You got to love that one.
2nd and 10 for McManus and the BC Lions, leading the Ticats 15-7. Almost picked off, intended for Trevathan. And Derek Greer had an opportunity for his 5th interception of the season.
Boy, both secondaries in this game are doing a terrific job of reading quarterbacks and leaving their men to help out. I mean, this isn't even Derek Greer's man, but, all of a sudden he'll come into the picture and cut in front of Trevathan, and, he's covering to the outside, and he's still able to come in. I'll tell you, you look at Hamilton's defense, and you got Eric Carter on one side, Derek Greer on the other side. They are solid for years to come at the cornerback position.
Lou Pasaglia is standing back at his 32-yard line.
That's Matt Clark.
And that's Lou's view. Good one for Sam Rogers. Pasaglia sends it down to the 15. Rogers ready to return. Tommy Europe forces him out near the 30. 12 yards for Rogers. Ticats Ticats don't have quite the field position the Lions had a moment ago.
CFL Live, brought to you in part by 3M Canada, imagining the unthinkable and developing the unknown. That's 3M Innovation at Work.
When we said goodnight on baseball tonight, we promised you an update on the Dodgers-Cards game. It is now a final. In the bottom of the ninth, St. Louis pulled it out. 5-4 is the victory. The Dodgers are now 2 back of Colorado, 1.5 up on Houston in the wild card race. Let's go back to BC Place. John and Leif. Gentlemen?
Where the Tiger Cats are hanging in, Darren, by their fingertips, down 15-7. It could be a lot worse for the turnover troubles they've had. Cavillo has 68 yards total passing, and there hasn't been much running yardage for the Tiger Cats at all. In fact, Cavillo's 6-yard run kind of leads the way. On 1st and 10, Cavillo near side. Larry Thompson stays in and then does a little stutter step against Eddie Thomas.
Boy, when you compare the offensive lines in this game, I mean, the BC Lions have done a terrific job. They lead the league in sacks against, only 8 after 11 games. That's phenomenal. The Ticats, on the other hand, have given up 29. And, you know, for a team that likes to throw the ball as much as Anthony Cavillo does, it puts a heck of a lot of pressure on that offensive line. And, you know, so far in the first half of this ball game, they've done a pretty good job, although BC hasn't brought as many people as they usually do.
72, the penalty was declined. It's first down.
Glenn Scrivener was offside, and obviously the Tiger Cats will take the 16-yard gain. Hamilton set up out across the 45 at the 46. Trying to put a sustained drive together for a touchdown. On 1st and 10, Cavillo pitches for McAdoo, and he's near the 55. McAdoo trying to recover from a fumble in the opening quarter. Remember when he was an Eastern All-Star back in 1989? Led the league in rushing touchdowns that year with 11.
Boy, he had a solid game last week against the Toronto Argonauts when he had 15 carries for 102 yards. Not too many Hamilton running backs have had 100-yard games this year, but Derek McAdoo did it a week ago.
Some early movements. Benefield looked like he got a quick stop, a quick jump there, and it was Derek McAdoo getting the call after the whistle. So we'll sort it out. Ticats at 7-4, Lions at 8-3 so far in 1995.
This is not a tough one to call.
There was movement from the BC Lions side of things.
Offside, BC number 11. It's first down.
David Benefield at the bottom of the screen, you know, he knows it's 2nd and 2, and he's trying to get a little jump on things, and he gets caught in the neutral zone at the snap of the football. There he is. As soon as that ball snapped, he's dead in the water, and Hamilton gets the free first down.
At the 51, Ticats on 1st and 10, 9:08 to go till halftime. Calvillo away from the initial rush and on target sidelines for Larry Thompson, who had the first down and was forced back by Eddie Thomas.
You know, Val St. Germain at the bottom of the screen has Benefield coming here, and it looks as though Benefield beats him, but St. Germain does a heck of a job here. He has to count on his quarterback stepping up in the pocket at this point, and Cavillo does just that. Now, it's a good lane to throw downfield, and Larry Thompson, who's having a terrific night, makes another catch on the out. He's working Eddie Thomas pretty hard here, but, you know, as a tackle, you push the guy by and hope your quarterback steps up, and they did it perfectly.
12 yards, it's 1st and 10 at the BC 39. Cavillo over the middle for Earl Winfield, and Winfield is down at the 20-yard line. Pinned there by Charlie Gordon, number 26. Winfield shaken up earlier in the game, but as you said, he likes to play, and it takes a lot to keep him out of the lineup.
Well, I'll tell you, he's one guy that can play hurt, and there, you know, see, there's Earl. He can beat you with the man-to-man, but he feels the zone coverage, so he just sits down in that hole and waits for Cavillo to find him, and Again, Earl Winfield having another solid night. He did a week ago, and it tells you what he's done in his 9-year career. 5 times, and already done it again this year, over 1,000.
Gained 19 yards in the previous play to set the Tiger Cats up at the 21. Cavillo hit. The ball squirts loose. Quarles got through, and this is Tommy Europe racing to the end zone. There are penalty markers down as Europe takes it all the way. Third fumble recovery of the evening. Cavillo down on the turf. He was nailed. The ball squirted loose. They'll likely bring it back a ways, but for the record, Europe took it 83. Some kind of night for Tom Europe. He's been all around the football. Another penalty against the Lions for something a little different.
Clipping. BC 31. 15-yard penalty. BC ball, first down.
And it was Shelton Quarles who made the hit on Cavillo to start all of this. You see, here's Quarles here, and with Lee Knight, the fullback, out here, they're going to run a hot pass pattern. So as a quarterback, boy, you better get rid of it in a hurry, because you just don't have enough people to protect. And you'll see Quarles, boom, the free shot, the ball comes loose, and Tommy Europe will get his 3rd fumble recovery of this half, as John told you. And then it's 31 Quarles who has the clip on McAdoo that brings it all the way back. And, that would have been a touchdown. Easy one for Tommy Europe. So a bit of a break for the Ticats. I mean, you give up the turnover, but you don't lose the touchdown.
It's near the 25 as Philpott takes off around the left side. Forced out by the middle linebacker, Tim Brown. Ticats have had turnover troubles.
Well, there you see it, 4, and they are lucky. John, you mentioned it earlier that the score is not more than 15-7 with the way they have coughed it up here in the first half.
There's the worried coach right now, Don Southern, trying to get his Tiger Cats fired up for a BC first down. McManus for Yo Murphy. Big gain, Lions. Lewis on the tackle, number 17. No markers on that play. Big gain, Yo Murphy.
Well, one of the reasons why the BC Lions are on the move again is the fumble caused by Shelton Quarles. Look at the hit. I mean, from the blind side, when you don't pick anybody up on the blind side, your quarterback's going to take a lot of punishment, and Cavillo took a pretty good shot, and that's the reason why Danny McManus has got his team on the move. The 4th turnover committed by the Ticats.
Down to the Tiger Cat 47 after a 25-yard gain. This is Matt Clark. And Clark still standing somehow, finally surrounded. Hassan Bailey in on the stop, along with Jesse Small for good measure. Matt Clark with a touchdown earlier, his first of the season. No gain on that play.
One of the things they may do with Matt Clark tonight is move him around a little bit more with Bobby Gordon out. Usually the BC Lion wide receivers stay on the same side of the field the entire game, and the right side of the formation is Matt Clark's spot. But, if McManus wants to work somebody to the left side, he may move him over there a bit tonight.
This is 2nd and 10. Big charge on McManus. He's down. The ball is loose. And Todd Furtick has the recovery. Jesse Small coming that time and nailed the BC quarterback.
And it was Jesse Small working on Todd Furtick, and this is what Jesse Small does so well. It's that speed rush to the outside. He's got 4.5 speed for a linebacker that's 6'4" and 240 pounds. And watch right here, boom, the over the top. And Furtick, when you stop moving your feet as a tackle, you're dead in the water. And Jesse Small just blows in, and BC's lucky they were able to recover that fumble.
Furtick coming up with it. It'll be a punting situation after a 13-yard loss.
Well, I tell you, has this guy got some physical dimensions or what? 6'4", 240, as I mentioned, and a 4.5 40 speed. I mean, that is the entire package.
Lou Pasaglia. Another deep one. Rogers waits at the 10. And a nice stop by Mike Trevathan, or at least enough to slow down the returner. Another marker down, a 10-yard return after a 50-yard Passaglia punt. Lions on top at BC Place. It's 15-7. Penalties a big part of the problem for the BC Lions, despite the fact that the Leos have the lead, 11 for 127 yards. And without those penalties, the lead would be a little more substantial than 8 points.
Well, they only have 151 penalties now in their 12th game. I mean, hey, they led it last year. It's just something that they're going to have to live with. It's part of a team problem, a discipline problem at times. But, they did it last year, won the Grey Cup. So they're a team that sometimes can overcome all of that.
Now, the last penalty did go against the Tiger Cats for an illegal block on the return. That's why Hamilton is set up inside the 10-yard line on 1st and 10 for Calvillo. Likes to throw. This one is up for grabs, and it's picked off. Enos Jackson with a chance to get inside the 10. Not quite. Sanderson makes the tackle, but another turnover. That has been the Tiger Cat problem. The problem, too many turnovers.
And another tip ball. This time the BC Lions are the recipients of this one. There you see, tip in the middle by Brian Ford, 48, and Enos Jackson with the interception. Number 5 on the season for Enos Jackson.
So Danny McManus has a chance for a short field after the 4th turnover. Or the 5th turnover, I should say.
That hasn't really hurt Hamilton that much. That they're into their 5th turnover. Only 8 points have been scored.
This one will hurt. Set up
so?
at the 10-yard line.
Is this a prediction or?
Lions 1st and 10, Ticat 10. Here's Philpott. He's got about 4 yards. Middle linebacker Tim Brown in on the tackle again. He's spent a lot of this evening looking at Corey Philpott.
Well, I think the Hamilton defense is a little frustrated too. Once again, it's that quick-hitting dive play that the BC Lions have worked so well in the first half. And, no defense likes to get pushed around. And really, at this point, the Hamilton front four is getting pushed around by that BC offensive line. And, yeah, tempers flare when that happens to you.
Philpott with 11 rushing touchdowns on the season. And he's more than halfway to 100 tonight. Philpott gets the call again, the right side. He can't turn the corner. Grabbed by Sean Smith, number 95. The Lions love to run the ball, and Philpott has taken it into the end zone 11 times himself. The Lions with 21 rushing touchdowns, first in the league. Ticats, just 5. One of those is tonight.
2 real contrasting styles between these teams. One obviously loves to bang it in there, and the other loves to throw it. So the Ticats off that interception are going to dodge another bullet. I think they'd be thrilled to just give up 3 points.
Lou Passaglia missed earlier. No problem here. Lou Passaglia was angry when he missed a short field goal a little bit earlier. But that's his 29th of the season in 46 attempts.
Well, there you see 11 points now off 5 turnovers. I mean, it's tough to win football games when you're coughing it up that many times. Obviously, number 1, you give your opponents too many good scoring chances. But number 2, it means you don't have the football and you can't do anything yourself. And, I think Dave Ritchie, although his team is ahead 18-7 at this point, he's probably concerned that they haven't really put the nail in the coffin on the Ticats tonight with those kind of opportunities.
Just over 3 minutes to halftime as Calvillo sets up at the 35. Finds Thompson. Thompson slants in. Shelton Quarles in on the tackle. 31. Quarles has been active for the BC Lions tonight. They have speedy linebackers. Larry Thompson has been effective. The BC Lions continue to hang out of the lead. It's now 18-7.
Welcome back to CFL Control. Coming up at McDonald's halftime, we will take you to San Antonio for highlights between the Toronto Argonauts and the Texans. It was a Texan rout. Eric Tillman, the general manager of the BC Lions, will join us live, and John and Leif will give us their first half thoughts. Let's go back to BC Place Stadium as the guys are standing by.
We're here and ready for the final 3 minutes of the opening half. Calvillo dodging the BC rush, barely got it away, and he short-armed that one for Thompson. Calvillo was nailed by Shelton Quarles again. This guy's having some kind of night. Calvillo sucks it up, gets back on his feet.
Shelton Quarles caused a fumble, and now he causes a lot of pain for Anthony Calvillo. Watch as he will end up coming right up through here, and as Calvillo, give him credit, has the courage to step up and try and throw a strike. He's flushed out by Benefield initially, and my oh my, here it comes. That's helmet on the chin, and I'm surprised Calvillo wasn't knocked out.
And this was Quarles on the previous play.
But you know,
Larry Thompson.
They have 8 linebackers on that BC Lion team. That's the focal point of their defense, and they're always fresh and they interchange, and Quarles has come in with a full tank of gas in this game.
Eddie Thomas on the return for the Lions. Good room to the far side, and he steps out. There's a marker down, and it might have been an illegal block against Newby, number 94. Another one of those fine BC linebackers, and this guy just loves linebackers. That's why he's got a great stock of them.
He loves defensive players, period. I mean, he was a defensive genius when that was his role with the Ottawa Rough Riders and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He had some terrific attacking teams, and this team that he's got in BC is no different.
Quarles is the latest addition to the linebacking corps.
See number 94 on the run back. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Newby was hanging on to Rob Hitchcock.
Well, here's Henry Newby right there in the middle of your screen, and, you know, I don't know about that one.
They were holding hands, Leaf.
I don't know. You know, when you're a highly penalized team like BC is, I mean, you don't get any breaks. I think officials end up looking for a lot of stuff.
Lions 1st and 10 beginning at the BC 40. A little play action fake, and Philpott couldn't hang on to it coming out of the backfield. .222 to halftime. McManus hasn't really had the killer instinct tonight. 6 of 14 for 113.
Well, he hasn't been overly sharp. I mean, that was a ball, an easy pass to complete to Philpott, and, you know, he just led him a little bit too far. Hit a couple over Matt Clark's head and one behind Dean Haribolt. So, you know, the 6 completions out of 14 attempts, he has been kind of cold here in the first half.
This will be 2nd and 10. Here come the Ticats. McManus stands in and looks deep, looking for Philpott. He's got it on the dead run. He's gone. I said he didn't have the killer instinct. 70-yard touchdown. McManus to Philpott.
And when you play against the BC Lions, you can count on this pass play at least 2 or 3 times a game, and they get the isolation of Corey Philpott on Sean Smith. Now, Sean Smith's a pretty fast linebacker, but he didn't have the speed to stay with Corey Philpott down the sidelines. Philpott with a 93-yard kickoff, return for a touchdown, and now another long pass reception for a touchdown.
Heck of a way to improve your stats, Danny McManus. 70-yard touchdown strike as Corey Philpott pads his lead in the touchdown derby in the Canadian Football League. That is number 15.
Well, you know, just when we said Danny McManus was having a cold first half, I mean, he couldn't have delivered that ball any better. I mean, put a lot of air time on it. Just let Corey Philpott run away from his man and make the catch.
Philpott with a couple tonight. Both touchdowns on big plays.
Well, you know, it's not like Hamilton didn't know that play was coming. That's a favorite one that BC will show you about 2-3 times a game, where Philpott lines up to the weak side of the slot and runs the out and up. And it's usually what they try and do is get the linebacker, and they had Sean Smith, and Philpott just blew by him.
Don Southern is going to have to make a quarterbacking change. Steve Taylor warming up on the sidelines. Cavillo's shaken up on the big hit by Shelton Quarles. Meantime, Philpott's having quite a night.
Yeah, I remember talking to Matt Finley, the fine linebacker with the Calgary Stampeders, about this particular play that the BC Lions run. And, you know, he always said that, you know, they try and get me on that a couple times a game. And, you know, what a linebacker has to do when Philpott's in the slot, you've just got to loosen up your coverage and, you know, force him to catch it underneath and just anticipate that he's going to try and run by you for the deep one.
21 and 31 deep for the Tiger Cats, and this is 31 Sam Rogers. Ticats are due for a big return, and Rogers provides a fairly decent one out near the 45. Giulio Caravana, who kicked it off, in on the tackle. 2 plays to cover 70 yards. It was 2nd and 10 as McManus went to Philpott for a 70-yard touchdown. Philpott's 3rd receiving touchdown of the season. Steve Taylor is in for the starting quarterback, Anthony Calvillo.
And those completions translate into a 58% passer that Taylor is, and the dimension that he brings to the offense now is tremendous running ability. And if the pass rush intensifies, he is a guy that can get away from it and create some opportunities.
Taylor, a very mobile quarterback, looking at 1st and 10. He's on target on his first toss. Lee Knight couldn't get it around the corner after making the catch. Might have lost a yard after the reception. He only has 2 there. Benefield on the tackle. Cavillo has headed to the locker room to get some stitches in his left hand.
Surprised it's not in his chin. That's where he took the big shot. Oh, that was it. Shelton Quarles with the hit.
Steve Taylor in trouble on 2nd and long. And he found a man, Wally Zatilny, down to the 25. There's a marker down back at the line. And Shelton Quarles might be penalized again here.
Boy, Steve Taylor did a terrific job to get away from the initial pass rush of David Benefield. Benefield, you know, got by Val St. Germain in a hurry, but Taylor, you know, we mentioned he's got tremendous mobility for a quarterback, and, you know, he bought himself some extra time to make that completion.
Major foul. Roughing the passer, BC 31. First down, Hamilton.
So Quarles is nailed for the penalty, and he got injured in the collision with the quarterback, Steve Taylor.
Boy, initially watch the job Steve Taylor does. Benefield on Val St. Germain, and Taylor feels it. He feels it right there, and he ducks underneath it. Now he gets to the outside, and we'll see. He lets the ball go, and Quarles just keeps on coming. I mean, this is, I mean, it's not much of a hit, but I mean, you can't even touch him. When the ball is gone, get away from the quarterback, and it's hard to believe how Quarles hurt himself on that play.
Wally Zatilny gets a chance to get into the game. Nice catch here, and it's a clutch one for the Tiger Cats as Zatilny gets down to the 25.
Wally Zatilny's been out most of the season. Now, he's going to be a handy guy to have in this lineup. I mean, you know, every once in a while they can bring him in those 5-pack kind of situations, take the running back out, and, you know, Wally Zatilny's still got some terrific speed, and what he can do is maybe clear out some areas for the other guys, and, you know, all of a sudden chip in with the odd catch or two like he made just there.
Injury problems, 35-yard gain for Zatilny, and that makes him feel a little bit better after sitting out so many games.
And that's his first catch of the year, too, so, you know, he must be feeling a little better. Hell, I can't.
Zatilny has the Tiger Cats set up inside the 15. So Steve Taylor, in relief of Calvillo, can get the Tiger Cats right back in this. On first down, Lions are coming as expected, and Benefield gets to Steve Taylor. Scribner helping with the pressure on the Tiger Cat quarterback. The Lions like to blitz, and they send a lot of folks.
Yeah, and it's Val St. Germain they're picking up. When he sets up, Benefield just has the speed to just go firing by him. And I mean, this is a tough task, play after play. It's Benefield coming hard, and now he finally gets the sack. Well, he went 5 games without a sack and finally gets one tonight.
Loss is 10. This is 2nd and 20. Taylor looked to the end zone for Larry Thompson. There's a marker down back at the line. Penalty goes against the Lions.
Surprise, surprise.
That's a lot of yards against BC in one half of football. 157, 14th penalty against the Lions. I think we're talking number 96, Virgil Robertson. That gets the Tiger Cats out of a hole. And Scribner, one of the proud Canadians of that BC front three, along with Dave Chaters and Andrew Stewart.
Yeah, Doug Peterson rolls in there, does a heck of a job too on that front three alignment that they use. And I think Scrib's got a cramp. It's been very warm in Vancouver the last few days, and this isn't an air-conditioned building, so it heats up in a hurry. And when I came into the building tonight, went down on the field, it was extremely hot down there. It looks like Scrib got a bit of a cramp. So Doug Peterson, who's just a terrific guy to rotate through there, he's got 4 sacks already and just partial playing time. He gets to come into the game.
He actually leads the front three in sacks with 4, and he's not the regular guy. Remember the Grey Cup game that Doug Peterson had?
I'll never forget it because he played most of the day over the offensive tackle of the Baltimore Stallions, Shar Pordanish, who was the most valuable offensive lineman in the league. And I'm going to tell you, Doug Peterson gave him a clinic in that Grey Cup game, and that was one of the big reasons why the BC Lions were able to win it.
Peterson out of Simon Fraser in his 2nd year in the Canadian Football League. So Scribner heads to the sidelines.
When you look at critical points in this game, you know, the Ticats now trailing 25-7, and, you know, they've got a great opportunity with 1:10 left to try and get some points. And, you know, this becomes a real crucial 2nd down conversion for Steve Taylor and his offense.
But even with the penalty against the Lions, Ticats are still facing 2nd and 15 because of a sack on Taylor a moment ago. Taylor has it picked off right on the goal line by Eddie Thomas. He's having a night. 2nd interception of the game for Thomas. He's run out near the 25. Too many Ticat turnovers. Now Taylor throws one up. Lions were coming with Europe.
Yeah, here you see Robert Davis coming. Europe's going to come from the other side, and Steve Taylor really doesn't have a chance when the BC Lions, I mean, here they're rushing 7 people. Brian Ford gets there first, and so does Tommy Europe. And my oh my, for a quarterback, that's just too much pressure. And, you know, the interception's the result. I mean, Taylor knows he's going to get drilled right there, and, you know, pretty easy interception for Eddie Thomas just to sneak in and come up with the pick in the end zone, his 3rd of the year. But, you know, that was a pretty crucial drive for Hamilton to get back into this game, and they give up yet another turnover. And Tommy Europe, what a half he has had. He's in on the hit. He's got 3 fumble recoveries. My, oh my. That's a season's worth there, 3 fumble recoveries in one half.
Let me correct the Eddie Thomas situation. That was only his 1st interception of the night, 3rd of the season. And the Lions get it right back with a 1st down inside the 30. Into the final minute of the opening half. Yo Murphy was the intended target that time. The safety, Roger Hennig, was covering on Yo that time. McManus linked up with Corey Philpott the last time he got his hands on the ball for a 70-yard touchdown. Busy guy in the middle is Tim Brown for the Tiger Cats. He's gone one-on-one with Philpott a couple of times. McManus on 2nd and 10, and that's underthrown. Herbold, the intended receiver, far side. He had a big 40-yard catch earlier. He's playing in his first CFL game.
So the Ticats give up the interception. Danny McManus can't do anything with it, and they're going to still get the ball back with, by the time Sam Rogers returns this punt, probably about 30 seconds, and desperately need to try and get something to at least start to feel good about this game as they go in the locker room. It's been a disastrous first half with mistakes and turnovers, 6 already by Hamilton.
Lupus Agley is standing at his 15, so the Ticats will have pretty good field position on this return, no matter how far Sam Rogers gets. Near the 50 and across. Now their marker down.
Wow, they're going to get a 15-yard no yards penalty against the long snapper Matt Clark, so that's really going to help the cause. They got 39 seconds to go.
Ticats at 7-4 on the season, looking at this game as a real test against the 8-3 BC Lions.
No yards. BC 39, 15-yard penalty, first down Hamilton.
That's a huge one. Yet another BC. I mean, this is a simple game tonight. A lot of BC penalties. They've been able to overcome it with 25 points, courtesy all the turnovers by the Ticats. You know, there's been a lot of intensity out there tonight, but it has been a pretty sloppy first half.
Ticats with 39 seconds to halftime. Begin this drive at the 49. That's Steve Taylor at the controls, and he's wrapped up by Doug Peterson. There's a penalty flag down.
Well, we just talked about Doug Peterson and the contribution he makes to this defense, and right away he comes in for Glenn Scribner and gets his 5th sack of the season. Not bad for a part-time player. There he is down at the bottom of the screen. You watch the effort he makes. Again, it's Val St. Germain who's having a pretty, I mean, that's not a bad job, but, you know, it was pressure from the other side by Virgil Robertson, and then Doug Peterson gets in there.
They won't count the sack. Robertson was offside, and the Ticats are 1st and 5. Taylor is down. They will count this one. It is Doug Peterson, and this one should count. No markers anywhere. So you were right. 5th sack of the season for Doug Peterson.
Boy, life has not been too easy for the Hamilton Tiger Cat quarterbacks in this first half. First it was Anthony Cavillo. Watch the hit by Shelton Quarles. This sends him to the locker room to get some stitches. And then Steve Taylor, just as he's taking his team down to touchdown territory, takes the shot and throws up the interception to Eddie Thomas.
2nd and 18, and Taylor can't get it away. Andrew Stewart gets a turn. His 3rd sack of the season. The relentless BC defense has made it a long night for the Ticat quarterbacks.
And John, what they're doing it with right now is just team speed. Here goes Andrew Stewart on Dave Richardson. I mean, this is not finesse, it's not power, it's absolute speed. Watch that, the swim over the shoulder, and, you know, again, Steve Taylor really doesn't have any chance to get that pass on. Andrew Stewart, you know, he's dropped about 30 pounds since last year. When he played in the NFL, he was around 300. 6'5", 300. Now he's down to about 270, where he has more quickness, and boy, you saw a real good exhibit of that on that last play.
4th sack of the ball game for the BC Lions, back-to-back.
Another University of Cincinnati guy.
Yeah, those guys are having a not bad night.
Well, if you play at Cincinnati, there's a good chance you could end up on the BC Lions.
You do get a chance to prove yourself.
You get every opportunity.
Well, Stewart, for one, is a guy who's taken advantage of his opportunities.
Well, he grew up in Toronto, but most of his early years were spent in New York. He qualifies as a non-import, but you know, he had some good years with the San Francisco 49ers and the Cleveland Browns, and now has come to the BC Lions and really found a home.
Unofficially, 0s on the clock. This should be the last play of the game. And Osbaldiston is going to run it out and surrender here, not allowing the BC Lions an opportunity to get their hands on the football one more time. mainly because Lions special teams have done a pretty good job tonight. Dave Ritchie has the lead. He's still talking to the officials down there. Send you back to CFL Control in the McDonald's halftime show with Darren Detition.
McDonald's Halftime, presented by your local McDonald's restaurant. Here's Darren Detition.
Welcome to McDonald's Halftime. As we mentioned off the top of the show, the Toronto Argonauts were in San Antonio. Now, with Kent Austin ineffective, the Boatmen went with Marvin Graves. At 2-9 this season, they had to do something. While San Antonio, a game above 500, was looking for some breathing room as they went into tonight's action, tied with both Birmingham and Memphis. Marvin Graves, as aforementioned, getting the start. He has a night to forget. James King with the sack on Graves in the end zone. It's a safety. It's 8-0 for the Texans. Things go from bad to worse. Maurice Miller will pick off Graves. He'll rumble in for the touchdown. San Antonio leads 15-0. Then on the next series, Graves picked off again. Charles Frank. He'll take it back for the score. Obi, he can't believe it. It is 22-0 for the Texans before Toronto can even turn around. Later in the half, Kent Austin in for Graves. He's leveled by Willie Fears. There was no snap. Austin takes exception to it, pushing, shoving. Second half, Texans add to their lead. David Archer to David Gamble. 14 yards for the touchdown. The Texans dance all over Toronto, 42-21. San Antonio now 7-5. Toronto falls to 2-10. This pretty much typifies the night for the Argonauts. First 9 plays, they fumbled the ball once, threw 3 interceptions, 2 of which were returned back for defensive touchdowns, and they gave up a safety. Archer ends up 16 of 25, 250 yards, 1 touchdown. Troy Mills, strong game on the ground, 92 yards in rushing. On to the North Division standings, and with the new playoff format, the top 5 teams in the North do advance to the playoffs, with the 5th place team sliding down to the South Division. The Calgary Stampeders, clearly the class of the North, at 10-1. They lead almost every CFL category. BC, 8-3, tied with the Edmonton Eskimos for 2nd place. Hamilton trying to sneak in there. They've got to tighten it up defensively and offensively in the second half if they hope to do that. Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, Toronto, and Ottawa all still alive when it comes to that 5th and final playoff berth. On to the South. You've got the Baltimore Stallions, who are running away with it. They sit at 10-3, 20 points. Tied for top spot in the CFL with the Stamps, although Baltimore has played 2 more games. Then there's somewhat of a logjam by virtue of the victory. San Antonio now with 14 points. Birmingham and Memphis not far behind, and Shreveport still is a shot. You have to remember that in the South, only 3 teams do advance to the postseason. We're going to take ourselves a short break. When McDonald's halftime continues, we will have a special guest from BC Place. We leave you with some of the records that were tied or broken last night as the Edmonton Eskimos dismantled the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We're back in just a few moments. Stay tuned. Welcome back to McDonald's Halftime. In December of 1992, Eric Tillman joined the BC Lions as the team's general manager, and they really have not looked back since then. He has done a sensational job, and he joins us now live from BC Place. Eric, we appreciate you taking the time. I suspect that you're extremely happy with the first half that your club put forward tonight.
Yes, I am, Darren. We played extremely well, aggressive defense, and, you know, there's still a half to play, but we look awfully good right now.
If the Hamilton Tiger Cats don't tighten up offensively with their O-line, somebody could be getting hurt. Your defense has been fantastic, especially with the front 7.
Well, you know, you look at Dave Ritchie's career. When he was an assistant at Winnipeg, he had an outstanding defense at Ottawa prior to coming here. And, you know, and our trademark during his 3 years has been his defense. So, you know, again, we attack up front, and our corners have done a good job tonight because Winfield and Larry Thompson are 2 of the finest wideouts in the league. But, you know, tonight we're playing very well. But this is a fine Hamilton football club. They've made tremendous progress since last year, and there's still 30 minutes left to play.
You lose a guy like Sean Millington. Now you go with Paul Blackwood. How tough is it for you as a general manager in the CFL with the Canadian ratio? This is the biggest beef that we've heard all season long in the CFL with the Canadian teams. Give us your thoughts on the ratio, and what would you suggest that the league does?
Well, I think it's a very sensitive subject, Darren, you know, and I think that, you know, let me say first that in winning the Grey Cup last year, we couldn't have done it without our Canadian players. We have outstanding Canadian talent, guys like Jamie Terrace, Ian Sinclair, Glenn Scribner, etc. The problem is when you lose Canadian players and the difference in the depth of the talent pool. You have great difficulty replacing a Chris Walby or Michael O'Shea, or in our case, a Sean Millington. So I think it's something that has to be addressed in the offseason. But right now, we know what the rules are. We have to find a way to win. Adversity is a part of football, and you just fight through it, and that's what we're trying to do tonight.
Are the Lions where you want them to be right now?
Well, I would have, you know, I'd love to have a chance to play Winnipeg again. It was tough having 3 games in 9 days, but to their credit, they beat us. You know, we won home field advantage in the playoffs. We prefer first, but Calgary's got a heck of a football team. But, you know, coming off a Grey Cup season, losing 9 starters, to be 8-3 at this point, I think it's a tremendous credit to our coaching staff and to our players.
You mentioned Calgary. All roads seem to lead through Calgary if you're going to get to the Grey Cup this year. Can you guys beat the Stamps?
Yeah, at this point we haven't. You know, Wally and his staff, you know, have a fine football team. We'll have an opportunity to play them here on Thanksgiving Day. I think it'll be an electric environment, and hopefully see them again in the playoffs. But they are, you know, you look at what Wally's done there, 15-3, 2 consecutive years. We have a lot of respect for them.
And I think they have a lot of respect for you, and I know that that respect is mutual throughout the CFL. You really have done a fine job with the BC Lions. Eric, we really appreciate you taking the time joining us tonight.
Thank you, Darren. My pleasure.
Okay. Once again, Eric Tillman, the general manager of the BC Lions. What we'll do is we'll take another short break here at McDonald's halftime. When we come back, we will recap the first half with John and Leif, along with an update to our game story. The BC Lions lead the Hamilton Ticats 25-7.
Hal Patterson began his CFL career in 1953 in Montreal and quickly established himself as a great receiver. His best season undoubtedly was 1956, when he caught 88 passes in a 14-game schedule for an average of more than 130 yards per game. That year, Prince Hal set a CFL record that still stands when he had receptions totaling 338 yards in one game. He was also the CFL's most outstanding player in 1956. You can see more on Patterson and other CFL legends at the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in Hamilton. McDonald's Halftime, brought to you by your local McDonald's restaurant.
Welcome back to McDonald's halftime. On to our game story. It pretty much reads like this. Corey Philpott having a huge impact, couple of touchdowns, including a 93-yard kickoff return. The Lions with 172 yards in penalties. Usually when you take this many penalties, you will not win a contest, but BC has been doing it all season long. Hamilton, 6 turnovers. It has led to the Lions 11 points. Philpott, once again, with a very strong game. Let's go back to BC. John and Leif standing by. Guys, they got to get some pass protection for their quarterbacks.
Darren, that, and maybe they need a little bit of a running game, because that's a big factor when you look at what the Tiger Cats haven't been able to do, and that's move the football.
Yeah, you know, John, Darren said that they've got to work on pass protection. I agree with that. But, I mean, when you don't run the football, and I think Hamilton had something like 12 yards rushing in the first half, I mean, you put too much pressure on your offensive line. I mean, guys like Val St. Germain and Dave Richardson, the tackles, I mean, it's all they can do to try and pass block on every single play against the blitzing defense. So the lack of a running game for Hamilton just has really killed them in that first half.
And a couple of the fumbles really cost the Tiger Cats. The fumbles came after getting first downs on a not bad little drive.
And this is a team that has hurt itself all season long. I mean, they've done some great things, but one thing that they've really had problems with are turnovers, and those 6 in the first half were really the story.
And Calvillo was shaken up in the first half, but he's warming up on the sideline, so we'll see who gets the start here in the second half at the stadium at BC Place. It looks like a long way back for the Tiger Cats, Darren.
Thanks very much, gentlemen. That'll do it for McDonald's halftime. When we return, we will kick off the second half. The Lions currently lead the Ticats 25-7. We're back in a moment. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the stadium at BC Place. A close-up look at the left hand of quarterback Anthony Calvillo. He took 3 stitches in there after a big hit. administered by Shelton Quarles in the opening half. We'll find out who starts the second half for the Tiger Cats at quarterback. They have a long way to come back against the BC Lions, trailing 25-7. Second half underway. This is Sam Rogers ready to return for the Tiger Cats. Not much room to the outside. Forced out by Robert Davis. Shelton Quarles had a pretty good first half.
Yeah, you look at this game and the number of hard key hits that occurred. And, you know, Anthony Cavillo took one. He got the stitches in the hand. Here's it. Shelton Quarles absolutely drills him. How about Steve Taylor? He comes in and he gets the same kind of treatment. And again coming from Tommy Europe and Ryan Fort there. I mean, Danny McManus took one from Jesse Small. So, I mean, the intensity level's pretty good. It's just been a sloppy first half.
And Tommy Europe comes up with a super first half for BC, recovering 3 fumbles. Calvillo is in and fired it high. It's intercepted. Picked up by Charles Gordon. Gordon is still on his feet. Finally stopped near the 45. That was intended for Earl Winfield, and it sailed right into the hands of Charles Gordon.
You know, that's what pressure will finally do to a quarterback. I mean, Cavillo had time. He had time to step up in the pocket. You'll see it here. The protection held up, but, you know, he just kind of sidearms this one and absolutely sails it over Winfield, and that's a pretty easy interception for Charlie Gordon. Gordon giving Winfield all kinds of room, but, you know, the pressure kind of takes its toll over the course of a game when you get hit that many times. That was just a bad throw.
7th turnover by the Tiger Cats, and that's the 3rd interception as Gordon heads to the sidelines with his 5th interception of the season.
7th turnover. I mean, it's tough to win games when that happens.
Lions on first down, and that's Corey Philpott. Wrapped up by 99 Mike Philbrick after a gain of 6.
Well, you look at this BC offensive line. Rob Smith, the left tackle, retired last year. Denny Chronopoulos was a free agent at left. So, you know, you got Todd Furtick that's come in and filled in terrifically. He's had a heck of a season. And the left guard, Corey Mantica, who just made a nice block on the trap, he's done a heck of a job. So, you know, the BC Lions have filled some holes with some quality players.
On second down, it's Philpott running for another first down for the BC Lions. Tim Brown, in his 3rd game for Hamilton, makes the tackle on Philpott. Those two have grown to know each other rather well. Philpott has 13.
Boy, same play. Mantica again coming on the trap, and watch how he leads Philpott up through the hole. But, you know, this is what I just talked about. Furtick and Corey Mantica on that left side. I mean, they haven't missed a beat losing Smith and Chronopoulos. These guys have played great.
Lions set up at the 26. It's Philpott again. Stopped by Jesse Small, number 97 that time.
Well, there's Corey Mantica. You know, he runs really well in that guard spot. And, you know, the BC Lions do so many things well with their offensive line. Obviously, they protect the quarterback well. Only 8 sacks coming into this game. But, you know, they've had great success just pushing people off the line of scrimmage with the dives tonight. And guys like Corey Mantica run those counters well. And, boy, this is a solid offensive line. I think you have to give Gary Hoffman, their line coach, a heck of a lot of credit. He had a rebuilding job to do on the left side. And, you know, they played superbly.
They block well for the run. Corey Philpott will tell you that. 2nd and 7. McManus has Yo Murphy, and that'll be a first down, BC.
You know, John, you mentioned it earlier in the game what a valuable guy Yo Murphy has been to this club. You know, a year ago, Mike Trevathan couldn't play in the Western Final, and Yo Murphy came in and did a nice job. And then, of course, he got to start in the Grey Cup game for Trevathan. So what Dave Ritchie has done with this team is given it a lot of depth. And when you have depth, you know, you can absorb some of those injury problems and still go on and perform at a pretty high level. Yo Murphy's the kind of guy that lets them do that.
Early in the 3rd quarter, it's Philpott again. He ran into one of his own blockers, Jamie Terrace. And Small was there to finish off the play. Gain will be 1 yard.
Goal, Jamie Terrace, he was coming on the pull on the trap there. Corey Philpott was so fast getting there, he kind of knocked him over. And, you know, here comes Jamie Terrace right here, and you watch Philpott. He's just going to hit him from behind, and he doesn't even get a chance to make a block before he gets knocked down by his own guy.
Second down and long. Trevathan, the intended receiver. He didn't have much of a chance to catch that one. Don Robinson covering.
You know, the Hamilton quarterbacks have had a tough night throwing against all that pressure, and you see what it does to Danny McManus. I mean, he had Trevathan coming open, but Jesse Small was there so fast. You know, he just wants to wait a little bit, but Jesse Small's right in his face, and so was Tim Brown coming up the middle. McManus had no time to throw. Now he knows how Anthony Cavillo and Steve Taylor feel tonight.
McManus, we saw take a couple of hits in the first half, too.
Well, he hasn't taken as many as the other two guys.
You're absolutely right about that. Lou Pasaglia has made his last 2, and the BC Lions had 3 more, thanks to another Ticat turnover.
CFL Live, brought to you in part by NGK Spark Plugs, the spark of genius. And by Dodge Trucks, Canada's truck stop.
Don Southern's Tiger Cats have turned it over too many times tonight, and that's the reason that the BC Lions have a 28-7 lead. Cavillo in at quarterback and tries to get a little something going on the ground with Derek McAdoo on first down. And he ran right into Dave Chaters.
John, when you look at this Hamilton Tiger Cat team, I mean, they just beat themselves. At this point in time now, they had 39 giveaways, add 7 more tonight, and 46 giveaways in 12 games. I mean, you're talking an average of almost 4 a game. I mean, it's tough to beat a lot of the really good teams like the BC Lions when you're doing that.
No gain. This is 2nd and 10. Ticats at the 35. Cavillo tries to get something going, swinging it out for Barry Rose. Good speed on Rose. He comes up short of the first down by a yard, maybe 2.
Yeah, and I've always felt that that kind of wide receiver screen is a great first down play, but on 2nd and 10, I don't think it's a good one. I mean, you're counting on a wide receiver breaking at least 1 tackle to get the first down, and you know, to me, that's always been a terrific first down play, but on 2nd and long, I just think it's a bad call.
Well, it was a bad call for the Ticats there because they come up 2 yards short, and Osbaldiston is in to kick it away again.
Well, yeah, I mean, they get 8 yards, but that's a great first down play, but 2nd and long, I just doesn't get it done.
2 deep for the Lions, standing near the 25. Osbaldiston sails this one. Eddie Thomas inside the 20. Slowed down by the first Ticat tackler, but he gets away, and he's out across the 32. Frank Maroff in on the tackle for Hamilton. There's a penalty marker down inside the 15. And another one goes against the Lions. Danny McManus hit for a 70-yard touchdown strike. Good on 8 of 20 for 192 yards. 2 touchdowns and the 1 interception.
Yeah, he's getting closer to that break-even point on touchdowns and interceptions now with, 16 interceptions on the season, 13 touchdowns. And, I know personally he would like to get at least 500.
No interception there, folks.
Well, that was close for Keith Embry. You always jinx those quarterbacks, don't you, when you start talking about those interceptions and how he's done a better job, and all of a sudden maybe he throws one. And you'll see Embry at the outside here. He knows he can't get in and get the pressure, so he just tries to go up and bat it away first. But second of all, he gets a chance to make the interception right here. That would have been a heck of a catch for a defensive lineman. Nevertheless, he was there to make the play, and the Ticats are going to need a lot of those kind of plays if they want to get back into this one.
Had a couple of cracks at grabbing that one. This will be 2nd and 10. McManus goes deep looking for Trevathan, and it was a jump ball. Trevathan couldn't bring it down. Fans would like a penalty on Don Robinson. What do you think, Leaf?
Well, the ball hung up in the air so much. I mean, you want to put a lot of air time on it and let your receiver run underneath it, but this is one of those right back over your head. I mean, this is a tough catch to make, and you know, as long as both players are making an effort to go for the ball, which Robinson did on that occasion, I don't think you can call interference.
Trevathan was saying that he was partially screened, and now they put it up on the replay board here. When the fans get to react again.
Yeah, well, what do you think they're going to say here? I mean, obviously they think it's interference, but, you know, as long as they're both going for the football, I don't see how you could call interference, and, you know, that was a good non-call.
Chance for the Tiger Cats here with Lupus Saglia lined up right on his goal line. And it's whistled down, no play there, procedure call.
Illegal procedure, 48 BC, third down, repeated.
So that was Brian Ford on the procedure call. 20th penalty against the Lions for 210 yards. Now the return guys for the Tiger Cats are standing near the 50. It's 21 and 31 there. Zatilny and Rogers. This will be Sam Rogers taking it right at midfield. Ford in on the tackle after a 5-yard return. Ticats try and get the act together. After a 9-yard return there, it's 28-7. BC in the lead. Lions on top of the Cats at 28-7. And Hamilton has struggled in a couple of areas. They've allowed too many sacks all season long, and again tonight. The Lions have been superb with the offensive line.
Well, then in turn, you look at what each team has done tonight. BC Lions have been able to get the Hamilton quarterbacks 4 times, so now give them 36 on the season. But, you know, in Hamilton's offensive line, in their defense, I mean, goodness gracious, when you're going to throw the ball that much, to be ranked 6th in the league in sacks against isn't too bad. I mean, this is a team that does nothing to try and slow pass rushes down, and, you know, the offensive line's always going to take the heat, and sometimes it's not justified.
Here is a chance for the Tiger Cats, though, set up at the BC 46-yard line. And Cavillo really has to come away with some points here on 1st and 10. Cavillo noted for a quick release, has Earl Winfield, and he's wrapped up by Charlie Gordon.
Now you look 28-7. I mean, Hamilton knows that they can come back. They did it a week ago against Toronto with 15 points late in the game, and you know, it's little plays like this. Earl Winfield just coming underneath. I mean, it's nice ball control with your passing game. I mean, if you're not going to run the ball, I mean, you better start throwing it a little quicker, and you know, that's a good style on 1st down. You get 9 yards, you're 2nd and 1, and Hamilton really needs to come away with a touchdown on this drive, and well, I'll tell you, Cavillo, he knows that.
Calvillo has pulled off some pretty good comebacks so far in 1995, but he really has to get closer here to the BC Lions. McAdoo will have the 1st down across the 45.
But John, you know, sometimes when you go to that short passing game, you know, you allow your offensive linemen to take what they call a short set and fire out on those defensive linemen, and you know, you can still pass the ball, complete some balls, but you can in that way slow down the rush a little bit. And you know, I think maybe some of the offensive linemen have said that to Cavillo. Let us do that short set a little bit. We'll slow these guys down and do a little bit of chop blocking on them.
Ticats with a 1st down at the BC 35. Calvillo looks a little deeper this time and has Barry Rose. He's inside the 15 to about the 12-yard line. Wrapped up there by Tom Europe.
And when you're Dieter Brock as an offensive coordinator, these are the little plays that tell you that Cavillo has a chance to be a good one. He reads the defense perfectly. One of the few times that BC has dropped people back in a zone, and he just nicely dumps it into the open hole and lets Barry Rose go and find it. But, you know, against zone defense, you have to throw it to spots and expect your receivers to end up in those places, and Rose did.
Rose playing his 5th game in the CFL tonight, picks up 23 yards on that play. Setting the Tiger Cats up in great shape here with a 1st down. Calvillo has the out pattern to Rose. broke away from Europe and grabbed a couple more. He's inside the 10.
Well, I think Don Southern, more than anybody else, feels the sense of urgency right here. His team, still, we're in the third quarter. There's a long way to go, but they have to take advantage of every opportunity they get down the red zone, and this is a huge one for them.
Ball is on the 10-yard line of the BC Lions. Tiger Cats looking at second and long again. Calvillo unloads in a hurry and fired it behind Winfield with coverage by Charles Gordon.
See, Charlie Gordon made a great play there. I mean, BC was coming with the blitz. Tommy Europe was out of the middle. Charlie Gordon knew that, so what he tried to do the best he could was to take away that inside position that Earl Winfield wanted. I mean, here Winfield, he wants to go to the post, but watch how Gordon sneaks in. He's playing it. See it? He's on the inside shoulder already, and there's no place for Winfield to go. And, that's a smart play. He knows there's no help in there, so he takes that inside away.
Ticats go gambling here on 3rd and 7 at the BC 10. Calvillo unloads. He'll have a first down. And does Winfield get across? It'll be a touchdown. The big play guy, Earl Winfield. 9th touchdown catch of the season. And Winfield made it happen. 3rd down gamble pays off. Anthony Calvillo delivers to Earl Winfield.
Boy, you could just see the team on the sidelines get a huge lift on the gamble pays off. Calvillo to Winfield. Charlie Gordon couldn't get there. They ran a bit of a pick. Boy, BC did it to Hamilton on Matt Clark's touchdown. Now Hamilton gives one back to them, and Earl Winfield gets his 9th touchdown of the year.
Hey, I had to get rid of it.
Paulus Baldiston looking for his 2nd point of the night. So Anthony Calvillo leads the Tiger Cats into the end zone one more time, celebrating a touchdown toss, his 19th of the season. Earl Winfield, the Tiger Cats' all-time leading receiver, has his 9th touchdown catch in 12 games, his 77th career touchdown, and there's not much more you can say about Earl Winfield, and the numbers are great, and so is the performance night in, night out.
Yeah, he does a heck of a job, and this is how he did it. He's got Wally Zatilny in here, and what Zatilny will do is try and create some confusion here. Earl just kind of jogs off the line of scrimmage. He'll come in, but watch Charlie Gordon. He runs into Kelly Sims, and, it's not much of a pick, but it's just enough. Wally Zatilny takes his man, his guy, into Charlie Gordon, and that allows Winfield to have clear sailing into the middle, and he's like a fullback there when he gets to the 1-yard line. I mean, he had to put his head down and square those shoulders up to get into the end zone.
It wasn't an easy touchdown to get after making a nice catch, which looked easy. Here's Spencer McLennan for the BC Lions. Another good return this time. Spencer takes off, and he's out across midfield. That's a killer for the Tiger Cats. Spencer McLennan takes it back 49 yards.
Surprise, surprise, another penalty, too.
It was after the return. 5 plays to cover 46 yards for the Tiger Cats. Touchdown to Earl Winfield.
Well, any game is usually decided by maybe 2, 3, 4 plays, and at the end of this one, you may look back to that gamble by the Ticats. The Earl Winfield touchdown, was that the one that, got them back in the hunt? Or, well, he was hurt early in the game. Would he play, would he not play? I'll tell you what, unless he's half dead, there's no way Earl Winfield's going to stay out of the lineup.
Ticats special teams have had difficulties tonight, giving up another 49 yards on a return there. On the opening play of the ball game, Corey Philpott took it all the way for a touchdown. Waiting to find out what the penalty is about. There hasn't been an indication yet, but Dave Ritchie is at least smiling at this one. That might be an indication there.
I have a feeling that's a pretty sarcastic laugh by Dave Ritchie. He doesn't smile about penalties too often, especially with how many his team is getting these days.
Rough play disqualification. Hamilton, number 52. 25-yard penalty. First down.
Oh boy, that's Tim Brown. And the Ticats, unlike the Lions, are a little thin at linebacker, Leaf.
Yeah, they really are, and that's tough for Hamilton. I mean, Tim Brown, they needed him now because BC is going to want to try and just shove the ball down there and throw it on the ground, and now you lose your starting middle linebacker.
On the sidelines on the return, 74 yards net on that return for the BC Lions, 49 yards the return, 25 yards in the rough play and disqualification to Brown. And the BC Lions are set up inside the 20-yard line. But field position hasn't been a problem for the Lions tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, they've had good ones, but I mean, it's not surprising. Hamilton has done things to beat itself all night long with the turnovers, and now a critical ejection that sets BC up. And I mean, put 3 on the board right now, and you just hope it's 3 and not 7. The adjustment now, Sean Smith moves from outside into the middle, and Rob Hitchcock, number 42, will come in and play the outside linebacking spot. So Hamilton really is thinned out in that linebacking core.
Lions on first down at the 19. Who else but Corey Philpott? And Philpott inside the 15 to about the 12 for 6 yards.
This is just a great chance now for the BC Lions just to jam it down Hamilton's throat, go in, get the 7, and really kind of pull this game out. Watch Furtick come around the corner. I mean, you got some great athletes on the left side, Mantika and Furtick. They come around searching, looking for somebody, and boy, I'm so impressed. I mean, they're big guys, and they got great foot speed as well.
Danny McManus looks to Philpott again, and he's got 3 more across the 10-yard line.
Well, once again, Corey Mantika absolutely crushed Mike Campbell coming on the trap. So the BC Lion offensive line is really having their own way with that front 4 of Hamilton right now.
5 more for Philpott. Closing in on 100 with 86. I've got a pretty good feeling that he's going to crash the 100-yard barrier again. First and goal to go for the BC Lions. Philpott with a few more, broke away, looked to be held, and now Hassan Bailey has to make the tackle, number 7. 5 more for Philpott.
Mike Philbrick did a nice job slipping the block, and he's in the backfield, but he just couldn't wrap up and make the play. And for Don Southern, pretty frustrating feeling to see your team score, and then now have BC come right back and move it down with the penalties, a good kick return, and look like they're going to get one of their own.
Second and goal to go. Lions at the Tiger Cat 3. Philpott up and over, and not quite in that time. He's down to the 1. Hitchcock is in on the play. A couple of weeks ago, Hitchcock was the starting safety. Now he's in at linebacker. Tough running inside. Third down and goal to go. BC Lions, Philpott is up and over. Marker down. Some kind of night for Corey Philpott. The touchdown will stand. Philpott in from the 1 that time, but to start the game, he ran a kickoff all the way back and then caught a 70-yard toss here from 1 yard out.
Well, it wasn't that easy, but you kind of had the feeling that there was no way the BC Lions weren't going to be able to run it in. They've dominated Hamilton's front 4 all night long, have won the battle in the pit. Their offensive line created an opportunity for Philpott to get his 2nd touchdown of the night. Third. Tough to keep track of him.
It was all Philpott in that series. The Lions like to run the game, and there's the reason why. This guy can do the job. 35-14.
And the real luxury for Danny McManus, you know, he doesn't have to throw the ball 35, 40 times a game to win. He's got the great running game, unlike Hamilton. If they're going to beat teams, it's got to be with the passing game. But Danny McManus has Corey Philpott in there, and you know, Paul Blackwood's done a pretty good job lead blocking for him tonight. It's such a great advantage to not have to feel like you've got to beat every team with your arm.
Awfully close to 100. McManus is a pretty cool customer. Don Southern and the Tiger Cats have staged a few comebacks so far in 1995. And Calvillo will have to go against an awfully solid defense to get the Hamilton Tiger Cats into the win column in this one tonight.
Well, they've shown the ability to come back in a number of games this year. And in fact, all three quarterbacks, Steve Taylor, Mike Carrick, and Anthony Calvillo, have brought their teams back at certain points in the season to win ball games. But, you know, all those games were against the BC Lion kind of defense that I think is going to be very difficult for Hamilton to do that.
Coming down to Sam Rogers, taking it on the run. He began at the 21, and he's out across the 45 to about the 46. Here's how the Lions hit the end zone courtesy of Pizza Hut. 5 plays, 19 yards, and it was Philpott finishing it off. In fact, it was Philpott all the way. Great field position for the Lions, set up on a penalty and a great kick return.
Yeah, I think that's the epitome of playing on a short field. You only have to go 19 yards on your drive for a touchdown, and it wasn't a turnover type situation.
Ticats from the 46 on first down. Calvillo stands in, and he has Wally Zatilny. Zatilny away from Sims, and then grabbed by Henry Newby, 94.
Well, if you're just tuning in, the story of this football game most definitely is turnovers. The Hamilton Tiger Cats was 7 on 3 interceptions, 4 fumbles, and the BC Lions only giving up 1 of their own. Hasn't led to a heck of a lot of points for the Lions tonight, but it really has messed the flow up offensively for the Ticats.
You're absolutely right about that. In fact, in the first quarter on the Tiger Cats' first touchdown, 3 penalties against the BC Lions was all Calvillo needed, and then a 1-yard run to get into the end zone. And the next touchdown for the Lions coming here in the third quarter, or for the Tiger Cats coming here in the third quarter.
That's what I was saying. The turnovers haven't really killed the Ticats with points. It's just messed up their flow in this game.
Zatilny had just enough for the first down. So the Tiger Cats are across midfield at the 53. Calvillo looked for Zatilny again, and Davis had him wrapped up. That's Robert Davis, number 7.
And again,
fifth start for Davis. Sorry, Lever.
John, again, one of the problems for the Ticat receiving corps outside of Larry Thompson and Winfield, who played well, is, you know, Wally Zatilny just didn't work back to the quarterback. Frank Maroff did that earlier and allowed Enos Jackson to close, and that time Zatilny on the hook. You know, these are basic fundamentals that you make your break and you come back to the quarterback, and Hamilton inside receivers are not doing a very good job of that tonight.
And again, it's 2nd and 10, and the Lions are coming. Calvillo has to run for his life, look for Rose. He held on and ran into a cameraman on the sidelines. They really stayed in bounds. Robert Davis was covering, and they ruled it a catch for Barry Rose. Don Southern likes the speed on this guy. Runs good routes, good hands, as he's shown this evening.
Well, there he is. You watch this now. Makes the catch right to the side, but the guy you want to watch is that guy right there, the camera. Oh!
Cut him off at the knees.
Jeez, that's the old cut block right there. And, well, I bet you he got a good picture of that one.
Enough for the Tiger Cats first down at the BC 38. This is Rose again, slanting in. And Davis had him.
I tell you, you go back to that last play, that catch by Barry Rose. You want to be a cameraman on the sidelines. There he is right there in the white shirt. Look at this. I got a great shot.
Rose just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger from the camera's perspective down there.
He's up. He's all right.
And it's not one of our TSN cameras.
You see that? There was 3 guys with cameras down there. They're having a little meeting now, maybe a protection kind of meeting.
Well, it's like a kicker's club. Calvillo has Earl Winfield. Winfield broke a tackle and grabs an extra 3. Gotta love the way he plays the game. See where they spot the ball. It was 2nd and long for the Tiger Cats again after a loss by Rose. And Winfield has come up just a little bit shy. Less than a yard to go. It'll be 3rd down, Tiger Cats. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter at the stadium at BC Place. The Lions continue to hand it to the Tiger Cats. Apparently everyone's okay on the sidelines. We'll be right back.
Make sure you join us next week. It's the Edmonton Eskimos versus the BC Lions. Eric Blount. We were talking about him last night and what a fantastic game and how he was going after Corey Philpott, the CFL's touchdown leader. Well, next Friday night, the two shall clash. It is a 10:30 start Eastern time. Ronnie Lancaster's club looks to get back into 2nd place.
And BC's Danny McManus has the Lions comfortably in the lead. Big night for Danny. Florida State has asked Danny McManus to join the Hall of Fame. The ceremonies are tonight. Obviously, McManus can't make it there, but his wife is down in Tallahassee accepting the award on his behalf tonight.
Yeah, Kim went down, and Danny McManus, the MVP of the Fiesta Bowl for Florida State Seminoles back in 1988. A terrific career down there, and nice to see him being honored in that fashion.
3rd and inches, and Calvillo has a Ticat first down, just falling in behind his center, Dale Sanderson.
Well, John, when you look at the numbers, obviously the 7 turnovers jumps out at you, but again, you know, it's right here. I mean, when you only have 16 yards rushing, you do nothing to slow down the other team's pass rush, and, you know, this is an Achilles heel that Hamilton Tiger Cats are going to have to deal with. When they play the better teams, they're going to have to establish some sort of running game, or it's going to be a long 2nd half of the season for them.
Turnovers have hurt too, but the Tiger Cats have to find a way to run. We're in September, and here's Derek McAdoo. We'll call this a run. He took a little pitch. A little shovel pass, but McAdoo comes up with some yards there, close to a first down, about a yard shy. Tom Europe on the tackle.
And this is what we're talking about. Here's McAdoo. He's going to take the little shovel, but watch all the BC Lion guys that just run right by him. They're thinking pass rush. Pass rush. They don't even think about that show. See there, Tyrone Chapman and Clint Scrivener. You fooled them. But that's what the running game's going to do for you. It's going to slow down that rush, because now when these guys are coming upfield, they're going to have to try and read and think maybe there is a bit of a running game coming at me.
8th play of this Tiger Cat drive. It is 2nd, about a yard and a half. And Calvillo takes it himself on the naked bootleg, heading to the sidelines. He has a first down, then turns it up. The ball squirted loose, but he was out of bounds in time. 13 yards for Calvillo. And another big first down for the Tiger Cats, trying to stay close.
It's a good-looking play. Watch 31, Shelton Quarles. Whoop! He tries to put the brakes on and turn around, but Calvillo on the naked bootleg really fooled him on that one. That's the best running play they've had tonight. You know, often the quarterback doesn't even tell everybody what he's doing, so the fake looks so authentic.
Well, it was a pretty good fake that time to set the Tiger Cats up. 1st and goal to go. Calvillo goes for it here. Thompson, the intended receiver, and coverage from Eddie Thomas, 17.
That's a heck of a play by Eddie Thomas. You know, when your back is turned and you can't see that ball in the air, you watch the receiver's eyes, and when those eyes get big, that's when you turn and make your play. And I'm sure Larry Thompson's eyes were getting pretty big when he tried to make that catch in the end zone, and Thomas reached around and knocked it away.
This is the Tiger Cats' second drive from the 6. Calvillo pumps once, looks for Rose, and no one was home that time at all.
That's why you gotta love the inside halfbacks of the BC Lions, Enos Jackson and Kelly Sims. They're very physical players, and that time Enos Jackson took on Barry Rose near the goal line and gave him that one initial shot that you're allowed to give, and Rose just couldn't get into his pattern. He couldn't get off the jam, and Enos Jackson very physical, strong in the upper body, and he uses it as a real weapon.
Ticats go gambling here on 3rd and goal to go at the 6. They need a touchdown. Calvillo got a big rush from Benefield, and he's down. A blitzing David Benefield in on top of Calvillo before he could even cock his arm. Down again, Calvillo. Benefield celebrates the sack, and the Lions have a comfortable lead. David Benefield has his 9th sack of the season for the BC Lions, and it's the 5th sack for the Lions tonight.
Yeah, Derek McAdoo makes a mistake. His responsibility tonight is the weak side linebacker. That is David Benefield out here, but McAdoo stays in there, and Val St. Germain, the tackle, he steps down, he does the right thing, and now all of a sudden McAdoo realizes that he's missed his assignment, and Anthony Calvillo pays the price. Benefield with the sack.
So it's another turnover by the Tiger Cats, this one on downs. McManus has the ball back, and he's looking deep, way too deep.
It's worth another look to go back and look at the quickness of David Benefield. He went 5 games without a sack, but I'll tell you what, he is charged up tonight. And, for Calvillo, he just absolutely had no chance. And we've seen that a number of times tonight where Hamilton quarterbacks. Now, go back to regular speed, and you'll just see the true quickness of David Benefield. He got those size 15 shoes going at full tilt. Here it is, regular. You think Calvillo has a chance? No way.
There wasn't 2 steamboats there.
No, tell you what, that's it.
Best in the north, baby, and the south. The whole wide world, baby.
It's fun when you're winning.
Yeah, it might be a little overstated there, but the BC Lions defense has been solid tonight.
A lot of pressure on David Benefield. He got 2 sacks against Ottawa, he had 1 against Memphis, and then 5 against Birmingham for his 8 sacks coming into tonight's game. But he went 5 games without one, and the pressure was kind of building. That doesn't mean he wasn't playing well. He was creating opportunities for other people, but personally you want to get back in the sack column, and I know he's happy to get one there. I was teasing him a bit yesterday about it. He said, but look, you can tell the people all the other great things I'm doing and the opportunities I'm making for my teammates. And yes, he did that, but you still want to have those numbers that go along with it.
Lions on 2nd and 10, beginning at the 12-yard line. McManus hasn't had to start this deep all night. Philpott, and he'll be short of the first down, shy of the 20-yard line, and over 100 one more time, Corey Philpott.
Now you see how important the rushing game is to the BC Lions, and that will go to 8 of 9 tonight, most likely, that when they have 100 yards or more rushing as a team, their chances of winning games are very good. And there you see tonight, Philpott 106. The entire Hamilton team was 16. The only game they won where they didn't have 100 yards rushing was the opener when Baltimore was here, and they got by it with Danny McManus's passing.
Lou Pasaglia is standing near his 5. Ticats will get another opportunity with superb field position. It should end up on BC's side of the 55. Rogers finds a little room outside, and he's across midfield. Rogers down the side, stays in, or does he? A marker down on the Rogers return.
Sam Rogers was a starter for a number of games, but Don Southern felt like he was just getting too tired doing all the kickoff returns, punt returns, and playing defensive back. So tonight he becomes the nickel back, and he can just concentrate on those kick returns. And it's tough. He's a rookie, and he has to learn all the slot backs in the league and return kicks, and it was too much.
Block. Hamilton, number 22. It's a 10-yard penalty, and it's first down.
It's Brad Elberg. Nailed with the illegal block, and that hurts the return of Sam Rogers. Back at the stadium at BC Place, Lions on top of the Tigers, 35-14. Hamilton first and 10. And they'll begin this drive at the BC 52. Calvillo fakes once, he's surrounded, and he's down again. Virgil Robertson's 9th sack of the season, and that's the 6th sack tonight by this BC defense.
This is getting pretty easy for the BC front group. I mean, here you got 5 guys coming. I mean, Robertson's going to get the sack. John mentioned his 9th, but I mean, this is pretty easy. Hamilton throwing on every down. All these guys are doing is just loading up and firing off that line, and they're quarterback hunting, and they're finding them.
Loss of 3. Back to midfield.
Very rarely tonight have they not brought at least 5 people.
2nd and 13, and Calvillo trying to find Lee Knighty. Was a little shy.
You know, John, they ran the shovel pass, which is kind of like a draw play or a mini kind of screen, and it worked. And, at some point in time, I haven't seen one draw from Hamilton tonight. I haven't seen one screen. And, I mean, you're asking your quarterbacks to and offensive line just to do too much. And I think, as well as they've played offensively this year, and they've done a good job, they're 4th overall, they still have to make some adjustments to that offense to help their quarterbacks out.
Osbaldiston at his 40. Too deep for the Lions, including Spencer McLennan, who had a great return last time. This is Thomas. Little stutter step to get around one, but not around Hassan Bailey that time. On the return, a loss of 1 after a 39-yard Osbaldiston punt.
John, last week, the Ticats had that miracle finish with those 18 fourth-quarter points. In fact, 15 of those 18 came with less than 5 minutes remaining. But I mean, you really put your back against the wall when you try to do this every week. And against pretty good teams like the BC Lions, sometimes that task will be impossible, as I think it is right now.
Lions beginning deep in BC territory once more. First down at the 15 with Matt Clark to the near side. And Philpott gets the call again. He's over 100 already. And out across the 20-yard line to about the 22. San Antonio with a victory over the Argos down in Texas tonight. Moving into 2nd spot in the Southern Division standings. And look at all those teams leap with records all the way down to Shreveport at 4-9. Better than a lot of teams in the Northern Division in the back half of the pack. Teams like Saskatchewan, Toronto, and Ottawa.
Well, brings up an interesting playoff situation that you and I discussed the other day that's actually kind of interesting.
Well, it seems a little unfair if Shreveport finishes with a better record than the 5th place team in the Northern Division, that they wouldn't make the playoffs, but that's the format.
Well, as you look at these standings, only 3 teams in the South are going to make the playoffs. And, if right now you've got like Memphis there with 12 points, Shreveport with 8. Now, wild card team from the North would be Winnipeg right now with 8 points. And you and I kind of discussed the possibility of, we'll get to it right after this one.
Trevathan was the intended receiver, and McManus overthrew him there.
So now, you and I said, okay, well, let's take those 3 teams from the South. They automatically qualify for the playoffs, and, it would be either Birmingham or Memphis right here. But let's take, 4 teams in the North, what's going to qualify, and then the 5th team becomes a wild card. Well, why not just take the best wild card team regardless and not worry about the 5th team in the North? And so it could be maybe a Memphis or a Shreveport, and just take the best wild card team, period, from either division.
Yeah,
and
after you've picked off the top 3 in the South and the top 4 in the North.
Then take the next best 8th team in the league, and they go into the South playoffs.
Well, it may not come to that if the Bombers come to life or Saskatchewan does, but right now, Winnipeg at a 4-8 record. That's
well, they would be the wild card team right now. But you got Memphis with 12 points. They may miss the playoffs, and yet may end up with a better record than the Bombers. And you came up with this scheme, and I kind of like it. I think it's got it's got possibilities. It's a more equitable arrangement for your southern partners.
They used to talk about it in an East-West scenario when the West was so much stronger than the Eastern Conference that it was hardly fair to make it from the East with a 4-win record on the season just because you were the third-place team in the East.
Well, it's kind of like Major League Baseball now. A lot of teams then, stay in the hunt a lot longer.
Lou Pasaglia. Nice high kick coming down to Sam Rogers. Rogers can't get away. Robert Davis ran him down. A loss of 3 on the return. That's the kind of night it's been for the Tiger Cats in Vancouver.
CFL Live, brought to you in part by Peoples, bringing people closer for over 75 years.
Lions on top 35-14. There's Steve Grant getting an opportunity to play a little football for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He hasn't seen a whole bunch of action on the field so far this season. A couple of tackles in his Tiger Cat debut against Baltimore. But a couple of weeks ago, he worked for us.
Yeah, he was cut in training camp, and he's a local guy. Came back to Vancouver, and he knew some people at BCTV, and they help us with our production out here. And so he drove the golf cart. Not that guy right there, but Steve Grant drove the golf cart at the beginning. Now Hamilton ran into injury problems. They brought it back, so
we had to get a new golf cart driver.
We had to get a new driver, and Steve did a pretty good job doing that.
Play whistle down just as we were getting back to the line of scrimmage with 7:22 to go till halftime. No infraction on the play. It'll be 1st and 10 Tiger Cats beginning at the 25. Calvillo looking for another miracle tonight, and Winfield, usually sure-handed, couldn't hang on with coverage by Kelly Sims.
John, it's pretty funny. He just couldn't resist. I talked to him when he came out in the field tonight for the warm-up, and he just couldn't resist getting back in that cart for one more little drive. And we made sure he wore the helmet just in case he got out of control.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get a player hurt before the game,
especially backing up. But he just couldn't resist it. He said, "I love that job so much. I want to go back and do it just one more time."
He's pretty happy to be playing football for the Tiger Cats.
That was his part-time job until he became a full-time football player.
And Earl Winfield, shaken up earlier in the ball game, is down again. 7:08 to go.
I see Earl Winfield, he doesn't make the catch here. And as he is down on his knees, Kelly Sims kind of bends him over right here.
Almost looked like his knee gave out even before that, Lee.
I'll tell you what, if you're Don Southern and Dieter Brock and Terry Greer and those coaches, every time Earl Winfield stays on the turf, your heart must jump a few beats.
Has his 9th touchdown of the season tonight, and closing in now with 77 in his career. Long way to go to catch George Reed, though.
I'm not sure anybody will ever catch George Reed in that department.
This doesn't look good for the Tiger Cats for tonight, obviously, but I think even looking ahead to next week, great Earl Winfield with 5 1,000-yard seasons. He's smooth. So the Ticats have Wally Zatilny available to go to a wideout spot. Another backup receiver is Richard Nurse that they could move in at slot back.
Well, I have a lot of respect, John, for the way that Earl Winfield plays this game, and you and I talked about it earlier. A guy very willing to play when he's not 100% and make big plays. I have a lot of respect for the enthusiasm and the work ethic that he brings to the game, and so does everybody else around the league.
Certainly made a game effort on the touchdown that he scored. He'd made the catch and had enough for the first down, but put his head down and plowed into the end zone to get the Tiger Cat touchdown.
Well, if you had a team full of Earl Winfields, you wouldn't lose too many games, I'll tell you that.
Ticats right now are running out of time. Nurse is in a receiving spot, and that's Larry Thompson making the catch on first down. Benefield with an opportunity there to get his hands on the ball, but Thompson held on. 12 yards for a first down, Hamilton.
Well, Hamilton's fourth quarter is their best. That's when they, have scored most of their points. I think, though, 35-14 with 6:37 to go is asking a little bit too much, but just shows you, though, that this team, when it comes to crunch time, has performed pretty well.
Calvillo on first down, and a rocket for Richard Nurse. Had his hands on it, couldn't squeeze it. BC Lions scored the very first time they touched the football on a long return by Corey Philpott. Philpott added a 70-yard touchdown reception and then a 1-yard touchdown a little bit later.
And we should have known something, because BC is 7-0 when they score the first points in a game, and they did it on the opening play, so kind of was creating some doom for the Ticats.
2nd and 10. Calvillo looking deep, and who's it for? Nurse with Davis covering. So the Lions, with an 8-3 record as it stands right now, have a big date with the Edmonton Eskimos here at BC Place.
Gordon Miller and Glenn Suter will call that game for you. I get a chance to sit in the studio with Darren Detition that night, and looking forward to it. Try and offer some insight from our CFL control.
3rd down for the Tiger Cats with 5:52 to go. Osbaldiston hasn't been called on to kick a field goal tonight. He has punted frequently. Thomas for the BC Lions at the 35. Finds a little room, and it looks open to the far side, but closes quickly as the Tiger Cats catch up. 12-yard return after a 38-yard punt. Well, Corey Philpott has made the BC Lion offense roll tonight. Over 100 yards one more time.
I think the BC Lions felt like they could run against the Ticats tonight, and Hamilton gives up over 106 yards a game on average, so BC knew that, if they executed pretty well at the point of attack, they could get Philpott another 100-yard rushing game, and they did.
McManus still in there for the Lions, and this is Paul Blackwood's first carry of the night. It's been all Philpott all night long.
And we talked about Paul Blackwood tonight, John. What kind of contribution could he make? And I said the best contribution he can make is not to make any mistakes. And the fact that we haven't talked about him very much tonight is probably a positive thing for the BC Lions.
And I guess the fact that Philpott is over 100 yards speaks well of his accomplishments tonight in his first start in the CFL. 19, Paul Blackwood. On 2nd and long, McManus far side has Philpott, has a first down. Just stuck the hands out, brought that in.
Boy, you talk about having the whole package. Corey Philpott, he runs inside hard. He can run the toss play so well. Kickoff returns for touchdowns. Check out his hands. He's going to run out to the flat, kind of looks upfield. Now watch the catch he makes right here. I mean, that's some great hands, because Rob Hitchcock's coming right in your face, and you're willing to extend yourself, make the catch, and take the hit. He's having some kind of night.
And the Lion drive continues. Danny McManus, 10 of 26. He's over 200 yards passing. Yeah, Philpott was ready to go just when you complimented him on the great hands. He was ready to run before he had the ball under control.
Well, see, the difference on that play is, you know, he had so much room, he could feel it. He just knew it, that if he made the catch, he had all kinds of running room. So, yes, he's looking downfield. The other one, he knew he had to catch it quickly and take the hit. It's a different kind of catch, and he just relaxed too much. Did we jinx him?
Well, maybe just a little bit, but I don't think we can ruin his night on missing that one after he opened the scoring for the Lions with a big kick return touchdown, and the 70-yard touchdown receiving, and then his third touchdown on a 1-yard run. Now here he's on the roll again, and Philpott breaks a tackle. He's inside the 25-yard line. Another 29 yards for the receiving total for Corey Philpott.
Talk about threading the needle for Danny McManus to get it in between the middle linebacker, Sean Smith, right there. He probably got a fingernail on it. Philpott still was able to make the catch. That's a terrific throw by Danny McManus. Once again in the zone, you know, put it in the hole and hope that your receiver gets there, and Philpott did.
Into the final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter now. The Lions threatening to add to their total. And it's Corey again, breaking a couple of tackles. He's got fourth touchdown of the night. Corey Philpott.
Now this is pretty sloppy tackling by the Tiger Cats, but give Philpott credit. I mean, he's going to break one tackle right here. He gets by Philbrick, gets by Mike Campbell. Now another arm tackle. That just won't get it done. Makes the move on Eric Carter. Boy, what an effort that is. Sloppy tackling, but boy, you can't take away anything from the effort that Corey Philpott made to get into the end zone.
And that absolutely wraps up this one for the BC Lions en route to their 9th win of the season against 3 losses. Philpott has done it all. He has reason to celebrate.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you by All Sport. The new All Sports drink for athletes. All Sport. The game will never be the same. And by Bell Advantage Long Distance Services, from the Alliance of Canada's only full-service telecommunications companies.
BC Lions look like they're on a holiday. They've had a pretty good night tonight. This guy's had the best of all those BC Lions. Corey Philpott breaking a tackle or two and heading to the end zone for his 4th touchdown on the night.
Well, you know, you look, sometimes you judge a running back by, you know, how, can he make people miss? Corey Philpott made a lot of people miss on that touchdown.
Sam Rogers for the Tiger Cats, who've run out of time in Vancouver tonight. Rogers forced out by Robert Davis. And all this up quickly, Lee. 134 rushing, 105 receiving, 94 in returns, 4 touchdowns. I make it 333 yards total for Corey Philpott tonight.
I'll buy that because I couldn't add it quickly enough.
Now somebody handed me a piece of paper here. I was cheating a little bit.
Oh, I knew you didn't do it on your own.
2:37 to go at the stadium at BC Place. Long night for Anthony Calvillo. Derek McAdoo was stopped by Brian Ford.
That's the first screen pass we've seen from Hamilton tonight, but that should have been about midway through the first quarter to try and plant some sort of seed with the BC Lion front 7 that they were going to see some screens or draws tonight to try and slow them down, but late in the game it means nothing.
And again it's 2nd and long. Rose was the intended receiver, and here goes Enos. Has to beat Calvillo, and he can't do it. Quarterback over to make the tackle. Too many interceptions by Anthony Calvillo tonight.
Second interception of the night for Enos Jackson. Another overthrow results in interception for the Ticats. Enos Jackson has always admired my ties, John, so tonight I brought him one from Toronto, and a bit of a good luck for him, and now he comes up with 2 interceptions. He's going to want a tie for me every time I do one of their games.
I think you should bring him a suit next time.
Well,
at least a nice shirt.
I can't afford to give him a suit, but I gave him the new tie tonight, and now he's gone, and he's got 6 interceptions on the season now, and boy, does that tell you a story. 9 turnovers. Goodness gracious.
Well, you can barely win with 4. 9 puts it right out of control. Julio Caravana gets a chance to call a few plays, and Blackwood is into the end zone. Second touchdown career for Paul Blackwood. And he gets one on the night that he gets a chance to start for the very first time. It's not quite Sean Hu in Vancouver, but it's nice to see Blackwood into the end zone here.
Boy, good-looking running play. Here comes Jamie Terrace around the corner. Ryan Hansen in getting some playing time, gets the block at the point of attack, and Paul Blackwood starts it up inside and busts it outside. And boy, that BC offensive line, I mean, you talk about Phil Pott and guys who have had terrific nights. That BC offensive line has had a whale of a game. Well, a lot of credit should go to them, as it probably will in post-game interviews. Well, I'll tell you, Corey Philpott, he'll be the first guy to say the guys up front ever have a heck of a game tonight.
Blackwood caught one for a touchdown last week in Ottawa, and I think he's going to carry that ball all the way to his locker.
Well, it's special for a running back. You know, it's one thing to catch a touchdown, but, you know, to get your first rushing touchdown, that means a lot, and that's pretty special, and I wouldn't blame him if he wanted to keep the Wilson football.
Ticats just want to get this one over with now. At 49-14, they want to get out of town.
You know, he was a 5th-round pick in the Canadian draft a couple of years ago. Went back to the University of Cincinnati and played his senior year. But sometimes in the 5th round, you really have no idea what you're going to get in the Canadian draft. But he has been a real blue chipper and has filled in nicely tonight for Sean Millington, who's gone for the season.
Dave Ritchie looking for his 30th victory of the season, and Don Southern's 11th career victory is not going to happen tonight as a head coach in the Canadian Football League. Here's Rogers beginning at the 10. Ticats haven't picked up big return yards tonight, and there's another example out near the 25.
You know, John, it's been a sloppy game tonight. BC with far too many penalties, and of course Hamilton with 9 turnovers, but the intensity level has been there. There's been some awesome hits, and, you know, I think it's interesting to go back and have a look at them.
DeVio took the brunt of it.
You don't even have to talk about these ones. You just have to watch them.
McManus had a couple of decent shots, too, but one more for Anthony.
Quarles had the best of the night, though, on Anthony Calvillo.
And then he got hurt a little bit later, but Quarles is back in the game. Calvillo over the middle, look for Barry Rose. Rose with a couple of catches tonight, and Calvillo on his fanny one more time.
He's taken a lot of hits, more hits than a quarterback deserves to take in a game. It kind of reminds me of what David Archer went through with San Antonio when his offensive line struggled. And you know, I don't think tonight it's the offensive line's fault. It's the scheme.
2nd and 10, Tiger Cats. 23-yard line, make it the 25. Calvillo bravely stands in, finds Barry Rose, and he's well short of a first down. 1:48 to go on a long night for the Tiger Cats indoors at BC Place. 9th win of the year for the BC Lions coming up. Calgary Stampeders have a couple of games in hand and lead the North Division standings at 10-1. Get the feeling that the Lions could catch the Stampeders?
Well, I certainly think it's possible. You know, anytime, you know, Calgary loses a player like Doug Flutie, I think it brings everybody in the pack a little bit closer to the Stampeders, although the way Jeff Garcia's played, and Pitts and Sapunjas, the way they're going, they're going to be tough to catch.
This is Thomas, and he ran right into another number 17 down there, Gary Lewis. Julio Caravana getting a chance to see a little more playing time tonight, and now Keithan McCann will get in for a final play or two here.
Keithan McCann a little frustrated at lack of playing time here in BC. Danny McManus obviously getting most of the work, and now coming in and mop up. He did in Ottawa last week, and now getting a chance to play. But he's young. He's got to be patient, as we talked yesterday, and he's got some tremendous skills, and his time will come.
Here's Blackwood with close to a first down. He's out across the 45. We'll see where they spot it. Jesse Small on the tackle. Well, going to be a little bit shy of the first down.
There's Danny Mack. Florida State Hall of Fame inductee today. John mentioned that earlier.
Playing his 102nd CFL game tonight, and it's nice that this one is a victory for McManus.
Well, he's answering a lot of personal questions too. I mean, this is the first year out of his 6 in the league that he has been a starter. And, I'm sure he entered the season with some self-doubt. Would he be able to get the job done? There was a lot of pressure on him, and I think he's answered everybody pretty well with his playing.
Keithan McCann uses Blackwood again. He spins off one. Markers are down, and Jesse Small finally drags down Paul Blackwood. To update what the North standings look like after the Lions' victory tonight, talking about BC's 9th win of the year. Stampeders have 2 games in hand, though, or 1 game in hand, I should say. And we missed the shower of Dave Ritchie over there. I thought showers were supposed to be for special victories. Is this a terrifically special win? Well, I guess number 30 as a CFL head coach. McCann at the controls of the BC Lions. Time running out on the Tiger Cats with 43 seconds left on the clock. They get 42 now as they whistle it down.
I think this is a pretty classy move on the BC Lions' part. They've got the game totally in control, and they've got a young quarterback, Keithan McCann, coming into the game. And, oftentimes this tendency is to let him throw and, have some fun working the offense, but they're just keeping it on the ground, and they don't want to embarrass the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And I think that's a pretty classy move on the part of the BC Lions.
49 is enough as it stands right now.
I'll tell you what, Don Southern will file that one away, too. He knows that this is a classy move on the other team's part.
Blackwood again, and keeping it on the ground, handing it off to Blackwood in his first CFL start gets him a chance to get into the action a little bit here too.
Absolutely.
Feel what it's really like out there.
There's other teams in the league that don't do that late in games, and coaches and everybody around, they file that away for future considerations, and Don Southern will file this one away, that BC won the game easily and were classy at the end in doing so.
15 seconds to run out the clock now for the BC Lions.
Tommy Europe, 3 fumble recovers there. He is number 13. Charlie Gordon with an interception. Kelly Sims had some great hits that seemed to set the tone of the game in the first half.
McCann wants to put at least 1 in the air. Maybe he'll take it himself. Sliding safely near the 42-yard line with 6 seconds left. Lots of penalties. It's been a long night. Few injuries. Most importantly for the Tiger Cats, number 1 Earl Winfield sitting on the bench, injured in the 4th quarter for the 2nd time in the game.
I think one of the things, we really didn't talk about this much tonight was, I think the Ticats missed the leadership of a Mike O'Shea right now. He can come in and he can make a hit, or he can stir up his team in the huddle, and I think that really hurt the Ticats tonight. They get the leadership on offense with a guy like Earl Winfield, but I think without Mike O'Shea in there, this is a different defense.
No doubt about it. And then they lost their starting middle linebacker, Tim Brown, in the third quarter on a disqualification tonight. So chance of a comeback really resting with the offense, obviously, but the defense couldn't stop the Lions.
I mean, it was tough to lose a body like Tim Brown, but he really had not made an impact in this game at all. Played well against Toronto last week, but tonight, you know, he wasn't the force to stop the running game.
Dave Ritchie has the 30th win of his CFL career. Chalk one more up for the Lions. They were convincing in a 49-14 win over the Tiger Cats.